We're back, folks. We are back. Another month, another Grin Grappler. And as our 2026 here in the Grin Grappler takes shape, we have yet another professional wrestler that fits the description of unique to discuss over the next couple of hours. We're here to talk about Shinsuke Nakamura and his journey from a stoic, straightforward shooter to a flamboyant international attraction to, dare I say, one of the strangest pieces of WWE history that comes to mind for me, in the sense that I don't know if we have a comparison for the run he's had in WWE, as it now comes up on 10 years since his debut. We're talking about all that and more over the next few hours. Expert panel as always. Lord Oracle, how are you?
I'm excellent. I am doing a little bit of multitasking. I have some preparations that need to be done in order for tomorrow evening's job. And
that's the word for it too this week. Job.
Yeah, job. But I'm well. You know, I'm here. I'm ready. It is a bizarre career to think about, and I cannot believe it has been 10 years since the guy has come to World Wrestling Federation.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that when I was watching the matches earlier this week. That is a jarring revelation that it has been a decade that he's arrived.
Right. And perhaps weirdest of all, this feels like a kind of relevant, timely episode, because Shin probably just had the best match of his main roster run in the last month, right? Mm-hmm. Which somehow makes all of this weirder than it already was, which I'm sure we'll talk about probably in around 3 hours. Bobby, how are you?
I'm doing well. Happy to be here. Burned my finger earlier, but, overcoming that and ready to talk about Shinsuke.
You did. We discussed this before we went live here. You also punched the wall in
I did, yeah. I burned my finger. You're cooking dinner, hit it on the pan, and then I'm like, oh, that hurt. Just punch the wall.
So did you burn? Was it a punch with the hand that had a burnt finger?
It was, yeah.
Oh, wow.
It was my right hand. I'm not going to punch with my left hand.
Yeah, fair. Probably best not punch at all, but I hear that.
I mean,
yeah. Good. Tyler brings it up. You and I both just refusing to cut the hair right now, Bobby. Are we changing our image?
I would like to get a cut before Tuesday Night Titans. I was going to go today, and then it was storming here, and the place is like, oh, our power's out. I'm like, oh, well, fucking whatever. It's storming, so yeah. Hopefully before Tuesday. I want to look nice for in your house Final Four.
Fair, very very fair. Don't we all, Bobby? Don't we all? I tell you, he's looking nice. Contrarian Alex, looking sharp, looking locked in, looking fired up for another glorious Grin Grappler occasion. Alex, how are you?
Got my Takeover San Antonio shirt on, so
nice.
I remember the last time I wore this thing. I'm well. I'm happy to be here. Happy to talk shop with you fellas as always. Certainly an interesting subject du jour. I was going through my stuff. I didn't realize how many Nakamura figures I have. I've got like 5 or 6 of them, and so. I also forgot in doing this how big of a fan I was of his, 12 years ago or whatever. And obviously that's something that we'll talk about. And yeah, hell of a encompassing lineup we have to discuss this evening.
Yeah, you kind of, as usual, you take it straight to the heart of the matter, Alex. We're only at 5 minutes in, but I think what you just said is actually going to be, particularly for you and I, probably a central topic of this program. I was a little bit uncomfortable with the feelings I had watching that middle act in particular, in terms of just... And I want to be very careful with this, because Shinsuke has had an incredible career, and he's a Hall of Famer before he even gets to WWE. But it has been so long that it is hard to quite grasp what he meant to the smart fan, quote-unquote, in the mid-2010s. He was basically like everyone's favorite wrestler for a minute there. It was a real thing. It was. If you lived it, you'll know what we're talking about. And if not, you're probably thinking, what are they going on about here? But it was real. I promise. I was there. And I'm sure that will come up here shortly.
I should call out right away. I did not fight hard enough for the Bad Luck Fale match. That should have been in this lineup. And I feel like I let myself and my brand down by not getting the big man on the show. But we'll circle back to that match at the end of the second half or second act.
Yeah. He'll need his own episode, I suppose, right?
Time. The time is up. The time is now.
Yes, indeed. Bobby, as people file in here, we've got a nice house right away out the gate here, Bobby. Any advice for any grinners that want to show us how fired up they are for Shinsuke Nakamura?
Yeah, if you think you're having a good time tonight, you go and smash that like button.
Yes, indeed. As Matt mentioned in the chat, of all the wrestlers we've covered that have 20 years of work to work with, or resume to work with, I should say, I'm not sure one has ever been easier to just split into 3 clear acts than Shinsuke. This is very, very natural, right? You have, before that kind of transformation, you have the King of Strong Style and the Intercontinental Champion, and then you have the run in America. It's like very, very natural, which is hilarious considering how odd the kind of journey has been along the way, especially stateside, which we'll get into the matches themselves here, but we'll start as we always do by talking about our Nakamura fandom. I have no idea where everyone's at on this. I get the sense Alex and I are going to be in a somewhat similar page, but Oracle, I know you wasn't a big 2010s New Japan guy. Where would you become familiar with Shinsuke Nakamura, and would you become a fan, so on and so forth? Oracle, take it away.
So I became first familiar with him. It's possible I had heard the name because he's wrestled for so long. But I first became familiar, honestly, during the New Japan resurgence in the mid-2010s. I guess it was probably 2013 when, or 2012, 2013, both those years when I started to watch sort of all the best matches from all around the world type deal on a wrestling message board called Wrestling KO, as I've brought up many times here.
Yep.
And my first real exposure to him was probably a match that we cover here, and we will talk about in great detail, the Sakuraba match from Wrestle Kingdom. And of course, I think it's the best match we cover on here pretty easily. But
No, an Ibushi lover, Oracle of Wrestling.
Yeah. I think that's the worst match we cover on here, by the way. But anyways,
I knew that was coming.
but yeah,
defense, Alex,
and I was like, okay, this is pretty awesome. And I don't know. I mean, I probably only watched another handful of his stuff from 2012 to 2014, and always found him to be a charismatic guy and charismatic performer. Of course, I was obviously aware enough by 2016 when he arrived in WWE of his fame and his success in Japan and whatnot. In fact, admittedly, I was pretty, at the time, frustrated that we didn't get takeover tickets. Instead, we went to Ring of Honor.
Mm.
Hey, I was there too. I didn't know you guys were at that show.
Yeah, I was at those Ring of Honor shows, both of them, and we went to those shows. The plus side is I got to meet the Briscoes, which was cool. But I remember like frantically, like during like the break at Ring of Honor, like looking through my phone and like seeing like the Sami Zayn and Nakamura highlights and being like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
And granted, those ROH shows were pretty good.
You got to see the best match Moose ever had. Roderick Strong carried him.
Yes, that's a fact.
Alex hasn't watched nearly enough System to say that, but carry on, Oracle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Tune in tomorrow night at 11 p.m.
But as you will.
Okay, but anyways.
2060, you're good.
But yeah, and I watched that Zayn match later that week, loved it. And then after that, never really was a fan, to be honest, for a while. Didn't really do anything for me. I don't know, man. I collect your paychecks and enjoy the surf. But he occasionally will have a pretty good match or one that's actually really quite good.
Every 8 years or so.
Yeah, exactly. A couple that there'll be some that come to mind, but the main thing I want to know right now is if Joe ever watched a Carmelo Hayes match.
Still on the list. I haven't got it.
Oh shit!
I'm sorry, man. Part of why it popped me so much when you said that you liked it was like, I know you're not a Shinsuke guy, and I know specifically, you know, like in recent years, you've just full on like hand waved it, like I've had enough, get him out of here. I gotta tell you, there's something about Oracle using pretty good made that much funnier, you know. Like it wasn't. Sometimes he has great. Like, it was sometimes occasionally he'll have a pretty good match. So, same monitor. All right, so we have some business out in the chat before I pitch it to our friend Bobby Two Shoes. Our guy Fahad has gifted 10 LNG Gold memberships, and here you see this is what we like to see in this community, folks. Look, it's an immediate thanks from a new member. Tremendous stuff. If you got that one of those memberships, please thank Fahad, but we'll certainly thank him in the meantime.
Yeah.
Very appreciative of your support. And welcome aboard to those new members. Much happening in the land of LNG Gold. I believe we have Ibu the Vault on Sunday. We have Collision on Saturday. Tuesday, Final Four, as we just discussed. So it's a big week, month for LNG Gold, as it always is. Big year is the best way to put it. Thank you, Fahad, very, very much for your support. Our friend Matt has been a member for 6 months. Just thanks for half a year, boys. As a platform that often engages in hair discourse, Shin's a rare worker who went from worst hair nominations to best hair. Bobby, go straight to you on this one. Thoughts on Shinsuke Nakamura's hair?
Yeah, no, it definitely evolved over the years. I agree with Matt. Right on the money.
Very, very confident. All right, I like that a lot. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed the grins through half a year. And, yeah, I hope we've entertained you thus far. Our friend Fahad, following up with a hefty super chat. We're very, very appreciative of Fahad's support and everyone who's joining us here, but especially Fahad. Thank you very, very much. We hope you're enjoying the program thus far. Bob O'Neill, Shinsuke Nakamura. You a fan, bro? Where do you stand on him?
I am. I didn't really see him until he came to NXT. I wasn't watching New Japan at the time. I was aware of the name, but yeah, it was really the Zayn match the first time I actually saw him wrestle, and picked a good time to have his best match in the company because he kind of rode off that for quite some time, and yeah, it worked for him. And I liked the NXT stuff more. I didn't like his title reign as much, in the moment, but I've watched it since then. It's quite good. And yeah, from then, I mean, I always liked him. I liked the entrance. I thought that was always very cool. I saw him face Styles at Money in the Bank 2018 and Last Man Standing match, which I actually thought was pretty decent. But yeah, I mean, besides that, he's been hit or miss, to say the least. But it's when he hits, like we talked about a little bit already, he can still bring it.
Now, since we're about to have a sort of tonal shift here, Alex, I'll go to you. Upon arriving in WWE, there was a reputation following Shinsuke Nakamura that I think, as Oracle kind of alluded to, and I'd say we were probably more entrenched in or swept up in, probably be the best way to put it. Mm-hmm. Shinsuke's a pretty big part of my fandom. Alex, it seems like you're on a similar page in this terms of going back a decade, right?
Yes. I apologize. I have my dinner here with me, so we might have a cameo from my sweet dog because she's sniffing around the chair right now. But I assume the first time I heard of Shinsuke Nakamura it was probably reading about the Brock deal in 2003 in some capacity. Or not 2003, that was 2006, 2007? 07 was when they had the dome match. Yeah. Okay. So that would have been probably the first time I became aware of him. But yeah, and the whole shooter thing, and he was part of the new Three Musketeers, and a lot of times, especially back in those days, just things weren't as instant. So my Japan knowledge was behind a year or 18 months or something like that. So it would take me a while to kind of catch up on it. And I remember falling out with it and then coming back in. Probably 2013 would probably be a fair estimate and then seeing kind of what he had become and whoa, that guy's cool. And his little dance moves and shit, his entrance for the Sakuraba match where he does kind of not quite the moonwalk, but a little foot shuffle and whatnot. I just was all right, this is something different. And then of course the Ibushi match, which we'll talk about later, was they showed that in America. I think we've talked about that Wrestle Kingdom some other time because I always point out that was the night that John Jones and Daniel Cormier fought for the first time, and it was kind of what followed that up. But When he got to the World Wrestling Federation, I had tapered expectations because, as we'll talk about in the Sakuraba match, you're not really going to see that stuff in the WWF. And like the whole shooter thing, I just knew, and you could see it from the Ibushi match in particular, that, yeah, Triple H was watching this and like, whoa, that's what being charismatic is, and then so I'm going to bring this guy over, and that's all he needed to do for that NXT crowd, man, was look cool. But he ended up having a lot of good matches there too. But the main thing is we had the precursor of Hideo Itami, which I think might come back up in the second act of like, as far as like my tapered expectations of what they would be. And then Nakamura gets to NXT and fucking just explodes and, just home run, whatever expression you want to use. And then we have the hilarity of the main roster that is to come as far as discussion goes, in which I forgot he was there for a fucking year before he won the Royal Rumble when I was going back through like notes today and stuff. And as it stands today, he is a hero to me. He has been quiet quitting, as I said on Instagram. He's been quiet quitting his job for a decade and made millions of dollars, and pretty much gets to do whatever he wants whenever he wants. So he's fucking awesome in my opinion. And he does have one of the more hilarious runs, main roster runs, in that what you said is accurate. We're talking about him at a just time because he just fucking tore the house down with AJ Styles, and people online were like, wait, when did Nakamura get good? It's like, dude, he's chose when to turn it on over the past decade. So all-time power play, though, coming in and having one of the best matches in promotion history and then coasting off of that for the remainder of your run.
Someone said it, and I apologize, I forget who it was. Someone on social said, WWE fans must be somewhat baffled by the way Shinsuke is presented, in that he'll kind of like disappear for a while. Or he'll just be like a guy on the card, and then occasionally they'll do a match where like you're clearly supposed to accept him as like a legend.
Brother.
Like, the AJ thing, like, he hadn't done anything for AJ, and it was like, okay, he's going to AJ. This is clearly a Clash of the Titans and a legendary matchup. And then people kind of went, yeah, I hear.
That's the thing with that match. It took the crowd a while to get into it because they were just like, Nakamura? But I was thinking about this, and so I don't forget to bring it up later. Man, can you imagine if it was 10 years later and Nakamura came in now with, like, he could just do that sing-along. Like, look at Pentagon Jr., man. Look at the success he is having. That's where Nakamura would be if he came in this, like, sing-along age of the game. But now he's exactly what you said. He's this crafty veteran that they dust off from time to time.
He is. Oracle, what was you going to say, mate?
I was just going to say, it probably explains the Carmelo Hayes match. They probably said, hey, go have this match with Carmelo Hayes, and if it looks good,
Yeah.
It was probably like a test run to be like, hey, try, put in an effort here for this one.
Because he's been rebooted so many times, dude. So many times. Yeah,
Nakamura is the new Sean Waltman. He has the match to tell you if they're good or not. He comes through the curtain and shakes his head no.
And this is, I saw, God, what year was that? I saw Shin work with Cody in a main event of a house show for the world title, like years after Shinsuke had been like a feature.
I forgot about that feud. The Oracle of Wrestling lit up our group chat many a night with his thoughts on that feud.
He also, when I saw that, he did say, I didn't believe possible, in which he took a Cody cutter on his side, which I always thought was remarkable. Like he was rolling out of bed. He's a hero and a legend. Our friend Harjiv's also a legend because he's been a member for 17 months. Let's go. He says, Shinsuke's one of my favorites ever, but I always struggle with his matches. I haven't seen 90% of his WWE run. His book is awesome. He's such an arsehole. I think he had a lot of fun with... I remember reading some of the quotes, and I think he had a lot of fun with using that book to really, add more color to his persona and such. He's been an interesting guy to observe from afar in terms of his reputation, in that he's just generally described by his co-workers in the States as just a great big cutie pie. It's very, very funny. The way people talk about it, it's like, oh, Shin's wonderful. It's just, it always pops me. It's tremendous. What a story. Thank you, Harji, for 17 months. Hope you've enjoyed them, mate. Here's to many more, we hope. Okay. For me personally, Shinsuke is the wrestler that, encourages me to fully watch New Japan Pro Wrestling. Certainly, yes, AJ Styles as Gaijin and being added to Bullet Club was huge. I'm not just otherwise, but Shinsuke is the first Japanese wrestler that I'm like, okay, that he could be my favorite wrestler in New Japan, right? Mm-hmm. I've spoken about Tanahashi being a guy who I grew to appreciate over time. Shinsuke, because of the buzz coming out of that Wrestle Kingdom 9 match, there was no need to learn to appreciate him. I think everyone kind of fell in love with him around that time. And because I'm a lunatic, I immediately immerse myself in all of the kind of hardcore conversation, and it's amazing to think his reputation then, in the mid-2010s, was a guy who really picked his spots already, you know, and you look at it now, it's like, yeah, man, that makes sense. There was a lot of conversation about his knees and where he was at health-wise, and I just remember being, like, stunned when the news broke about him actually making the jump. There was a report in like October, November time. Bobby actually brought it up on the TakeOver London show, where it was like, there to be a really interesting Shinsuke Nakamura. And I remember vividly, the general sentiment among hardcore fans was like, there's no shot he's making that jump.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to have to move himself. There's no way. And now that feels so funny, right? He's lived in States for a decade. But yeah, he was one of my favorite wrestlers. I'll remember the Wrestle Kingdom 10 AJ match, the hype for that match. After his main event with Machine Gun, AJ grabs the IC title and holds it, and they stare at each other, and the place just rumbles at the idea of AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura. That's how big a match that was in Japan, you know? And for a lot of fans outside of Japan, that was the lead attraction of Wrestle Kingdom 10. Now, in hindsight, Okada Tanahashi was clearly the main event, rightly so. But for a lot of fans that wasn't as immersed or attached to the Okada Tanahashi saga, the main event was AJ and Shinsuke in a kind of a dream match situation. It obviously delivered, but it also was a snapshot in a moment in time, because the next day it was revealed that they'd both be headed elsewhere. So I remember that. I remember the hype for Dallas. I remember the entrance. I remember the crowd, the match, all of that. And I was very, very fond of Shinsuke's NXT run. I'm, higher on almost all of that stuff than most. I like the Aries match a lot. I like the Joe match, especially the Toronto match. The ones they do for the title post, like the house show matches they had on TV, not so good. But I like the takeover matches. I love the first Roode match, which we're going to cover. The second one, again, slightly less so. But yeah, I was very, very fond of his NXT run. I thought it was a little bit overstated how much he kind of phoned it in, quote unquote, personally. And then the main roster, like, there's not even a honeymoon period. Like, you just kind of watch it happen. And within, to be honest with you, within 18 months, like, I didn't have nearly the same connection to him, which is a shame. And it kind of was reiterated to me during this process that can happen sometimes. But in his prime, at his hottest, at his coolest, he was genuinely one of my favorite wrestlers. And it was fun to kind of do this trip down memory lane and go back through that journey. So, yeah, that's where I'm at when it comes to Shinsuke Nakamura. And let's dive in, fellas. Let's just get to it. So, one of the things that makes Shinsuke interesting is he feels like a guy who's been around forever. And certainly, look, he debuts in August 2002. That's a long time. But compared to some of his cohorts, there isn't, there's a few years short, right? A few years slim compared to those. The reason for that, of course, being Shinsuke is pushed, like, immediately. Of course, we always think of the group, the Three Musketeers, these three emerging young stars with Tanahashi and Shibata, but he gets the big push out the gate. He wins the IWGP Heavyweight title in December 2003. We're talking, 16 months into his professional career. He vacates due to injury, but he is, like, immediately a focal point of the promotion and intended to be the next guy. Of course, his presentation is very different, which our first act highlights. And I think that's the perfect way to kind of feed into our first match here. August 15th, 2004. He and Tenzan on G1 Finals night. This is Shinsuke's second match of the night. Tenzan has two more ahead of him. And as a result of that, here at Sumo Hall, we get a hell of a pace. We get something that's very, very tight, and at times borderline frantic in terms of the tone of this thing. I had a hell of a time with this. I'm very intrigued where you lads stood. Bobby, take us away.
Yeah, I enjoyed it quite a bit. It was weird seeing Shinsuke with kind of no aura or anything to start, but this is a theme of the first two matches, like you said. You get the triangle choke right away, which I think he ended up doing in all 6 matches, so I'm glad I noted that down. He's kind of getting the shit kicked out of him for most of this match, but he's being resilient, and I like the story that they were telling. I think Tenzan did a really good job too. And I mean, I didn't know that Tenzan, it makes sense that he had 2 more matches that night, since it's a G1, but like, I didn't realize that in the moment. It makes a lot of stuff kind kind of make a lot more sense as well. But yeah, I mean, Shinsuke, again, got the shit kicked out of him. Got some slaps. He had a really cool looking German suplex in this one. He did the 2 moonsaults after Tenzan missed one as kind of a desperation thing. We got an Anaconda Vice. We got a diving headbutt as a tribute to champions of the time. Yeah, just a really fun match. Really fun match.
Yeah, that was unnecessary. I believe Tenzan is who he beats for that aforementioned OGB title run. I could be wrong on that. I should have it in my notes, but I do not. But yeah, to your point, Bobby, the idea here is Shin kind of jumps on him at the bell, and Tenzan just beats the ever-loving shit out of him as a receipt for the remainder of the match. And Tenzan here is operating like a guy who is desperate to get this done so he can move on to the next round. And I love that you can feel
awesome.
that. Yeah, it's like this desperation to his work that's terrific. He draws blood. To be honest, I mean, this is the Shinsuke show, but this match itself is honestly kind of a Tenzan showcase. I thought he was terrific in this match.
Yeah.
Oracle, what did you make of this one?
Yeah, this was really good. This is sort of I don't know. I'm gonna get touchy here, but
Brother.
this reminds me of when Japanese wrestling wasn't so Americanized and everything wasn't so homogenized, and it felt like I was watching a match from Japan, which was nice to see because they always do a really good job in Japanese wrestling promotions of doing the sort of like veteran beating up the new up and comer. And this was just a really great example of that. I always enjoy matches like that, and I think Japan probably does those the best. Because there's not so much, westernized horse shit and sports entertainment and crap.
Structurally, it's very different.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. But yeah, this was quite enjoyable. I wasn't sure what I was going to make of young Shin, and I was impressed by this match. Very much so.
Yeah, he's kind of like a blank slate here, right? He's just like he's a guy being defiant opposite a veteran and a champion, an established figure at the top of the card, and the crowd does get with that. It feels alive at all times, which I really, really appreciated. Alex, what did you make of this one?
Oh hell yeah, Tenzan by this point had been wrestling over 10 years, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. When the match starts, Nakamura is wearing like kind of long pants, and he's also wearing like a basketball jersey type thing that matches it. And when the quality of the stream or the video we got wasn't like crispy clean, so he looks like Jimmy Uso at the beginning of the match, and so I thought that was pretty funny. No yeet.
By the way, eventual Shinsuke WrestleMania opponent, Jimmy Uso, by the way.
Oh, God, that 4-way tag or whatever.
Rick Boogs, brother. Boogs.
That's right, when he blew his quad out.
Brother. Flying arm bars abound. Nakamura, it's good to see that he was always a very grunty wrestler because he's very grunty here in the beginning, and that stays the same. It's just Raw. Like the match, it's not a Monday Night Raw, but it's just very like what you guys have said. I guess I don't know how often they still do this, but the young lions, like the brash rookies that just are total dickheads, that was always a trope I really liked in Japanese wrestling, where they just like have no respect for their elders or like, the pioneers, whatever cliche you want to use. But that's kind of what this is here. But in return, like you said, he gets the shit beat out of him. He keeps like kicking out and coming back and like, puts up a real fight up until the end where he's taken enough. He does, I think, 2 or 3 moonsaults at one point in this match where he like it looks like he's halfway through them, hyping himself into doing moonsaults in the match because he's like, all right, now we'll do it and go into it. So it makes sense that didn't become one of his main sticking points in his repertoire. What I'll say by the end, though, crowd is into it and like losing their shit at all the reversals going down, and it's one of those things when you watch the guy in this match, and then we get to the guy who wrestled Gunther in our last match. I don't think anyone could have seen what he had in him in terms of like where his career would go and like the types
Right.
of matches he would go on to have. So I think it's a really interesting starting point.
Yeah, I mean, this particular incarnation of Nakamura is about as ill-suited to US fame as a Japanese wrestler could be, I think. He's just, his work is already really sharp and he has a lot of aggression, but there's no real pizzazz or flash at all, is there? It's just kind of, as I said, blank slate.
He's Jerry Lynn.
Something like that, yeah. How great is that when he gets one of those arm bars and Tenzan just clobbers his way out? Just like De Niro in Goodfellas, just fantastic stuff. I absolutely loved him in this match.
I do love the reverence the Japanese audience has for just the standard arm bar, the straight arm bar.
Yes.
Yeah. And that doesn't change in the matches that we do throughout this.
That is one of the key, I think, psychologically, there is a fundamental difference to how the crowds react to some of Shinsuke's like go-to things, right, in the States that I think he's always struggled to navigate, to be honest. Like, even when he's trying to ramp it up and lay stuff in, I think his general kind of, his playbook, if you will, is not always one that US crowds ooh and ah at, unless they're a takeover crowd that is conditioned to see Shinsuke as a godlike figure, right? I think there's definitely a difference there. There have been major, main roster shows where he's wrestled on. He's trying to be Shinsuke Nakamura, and the crowd's kind of going, I don't know. I like when you danced.
There was this match in New Orleans at the Superdome.
But, like, legitimately, that match has other issues, but there is a truth to that, right? In the sense that, like, that match has a temperament that wasn't suited to the WrestleMania stage. It just was, they had too much of a wrestling match. In the sense that it didn't have enough kind of oomph and set piece to it, I think, in a lot of ways for that crowd, especially 6 hours in.
Well, sorry I had to go there so soon. I think
a
prime example of what you're referring to, his debut match with Dolph Ziggler, which is a very good match. The crowd like oohs and ahs for his entrance, but then has no idea what to make of the match itself.
Right.
It goes 20 minutes too.
It was very long. Yeah, it was very
I didn't remember that part. I withdraw my comment.
It was. But I agree. Like, it's one of those matches. Mechanically, it's good.
Yeah.
It was pretty long. I remember it being a big debate. Should Shin have sold that much for Dolph? But yeah, we'll get to that.
Wait,
we'll get there.
50-50 in mid 2010s WWF.
Yeah, we'll let it play out. Nonetheless, it is in 2006 that Shin has an excursion to improve himself. But there was actually talk. I learned this today. There was talk of him working WWE as part of his excursion, which I presume was always complete horseshit, but it's really funny to imagine that he just could have stayed there the whole time. His whole career would have been different, and wrestling would have changed with it.
Was allegedly offered a fight in the Ultimate Fighting Championship during that time, too.
Which, all of that, this whole time, obviously, in New Japan is bizarre, right? With the kind of shoot fight elements that are getting, becoming more pronounced and so on and so forth.
It might have been when there was that brief period where him and Lyoto Machida were roommates, training together, which is just bizarre.
LA Dojo shit, right?
That was it, yeah.
I believe he was needed back sooner than expected because of Lesnar's departure, which we kind of touched on earlier, and that all being part of... The Shin is part of that Lesnar story, which is another story of another day. Bob was working on a documentary about it. He works with Toshiaki Kawada on January 4th, 2007, and 1 year later defeats Hiroshi Tanahashi in 08, January 4th, for his second heavyweight title reign. But it is Kawada that we're returning to as an opponent for our second match of Act 1, August 14th, 2008. We have another G1 match, a more understated one, I think it's fair to say. This doesn't have the urgency of the prior match. But it's an interesting look at a matchup that I think if you had a time machine and you could, bring a different version of Kawada with a different version of Nakamura, would be a dream match. What we get is something I like. I personally have always preferred this to their dome match, personally. I think it benefits from the trim. I think the dome match is like maybe 20 plus. I remember it feeling pretty long. But you have a kind of fun grappler versus striker deal here. Oracle, I'm intrigued. What did you make of this? There's one very funny moment in this, but what did you make of this match overall?
This was pretty good. I liked it a little bit less than the Tenzan match.
Yeah.
I mean, I always enjoy watching Kawada. I always like when he does. His one moment in the match where he does like his like not Kawada kicks where he lifts his leg up and then drops it back down.
Mm-hmm.
And he's so like just like sloppy and matter, but he's always been that way about it. But it's just like it's like more interesting and entertaining to watch because it's 2008 Kawada and he's very old and his knees are obviously very bad.
He looks more so than ever this time. He looks so fucking miserable, doesn't he? He just looks
shot, dude. He's totally. He's still a good worker. I mean, he still knows what he's doing. He's just physically, it's like
right.
The wear and tear is very, very noticeable. But yeah, this was a pretty good match. Ended up being, like I said, a little bit less than the Tenzan match, but I did enjoy it.
Yeah. And we do get an early look at the kind of the Sakuraba knee spot, right? We get an early look at that with Kawada kicking Shin in mid takedown. It's funny, dude. Like Kawada is, as you said, he's physically shot, but he also is just like he's had enough, and he's ready to. Because part of Kawada's act is always that he has that kind of temperament of just pure hatred and spite. But before there's a fire to it, by this point it's just, please let me go home. However, he can't help but sell like Kawada, and there's that late armbar where he just can't help but produce incredible selling, right? He just is what he does, dude. He's Kawada. And Klein is right. Shout out to our guy Dragon in Discord who found this. I had seen this years ago, and it was to my knowledge lost, and he found it for us this week. So shout out to him. Trey and Alex, what did you make of this?
Pretty good. I'm always, or not always, I've found in my older years I've become a bit more hot and cold ski on one Toshiaki Kawada. But I do, to y'all's point, enjoy the difference in urgency in this match where Nakamura, I mean, it's what ends up winning the match for Nakamura, that he just stays on him the whole time. Mm-hmm. But in the early going, Kawada's treating it like, tire yourself out. You know, he's got the George Foreman, Michael Moore approach of just like, we'll see what happens. And that the story of the match is Nakamura is just staying on him. It's not enough. And then eventually, he gets him down. It's kind of slow, picks up. I mean, for the length of the match, I think it's pretty well paced. They do have the little fumble in the middle where they get the miscommunication where Kawada falls down, but then he makes up for it with a just scintillating brainbuster on Nakamura that I audibly reacted to. Tiger Driver wins it for Nakamura, and a really good winning celebration. I think that the mountaintop of Grin Grappler win celebrations is Lex Luger winning the world title. And like, there's levels to this shit though, because you can't treat every match like you just won the world championship. And I just like how Nakamura just like, he knows that he won another one, and it wasn't like the biggest fight of his life, but he's happy that he won it and he can move on to the next. It adds a sense of realism to it all. So I wouldn't call this match remarkable, but I enjoyed it, and I think it's good in showing the evolution of where young Shinsuke was at this point in time.
Yeah, I think that celebration talking about, you do see a little more personality, right, of Shin. It's just within the match, he's still pretty cut and dry. Meat and potatoes, even. But yeah, the wires cross deal is funny, where he hits the ropes both times, and then just kind of falls down, and the crowd laughs.
Yeah,
and he kind of styles it out as like, man, I'm really hurting. My arm's hurting bad. And I don't think the crowd could. They struggled to do the maths on why his arm hurting and caused him to just fall down mid run. But this is a tough business on families. I'm sure he punched the wall afterwards. Bobby, what did you make of this?
It was fine. I didn't like it as much as the first match either. I could have done a little less of the grappling, but once the strike exchanges got going and all that, it turned into a lot of fun. Kawada's brainbuster was awesome. I mean, it's short. I'm glad we included it, but yeah, I mean, it took a little bit to get going. I know what they were going for, but I personally could have just done with a couple minutes less of that part.
One note that I think this would be a good place to kind of highlight it. One thing about doing this lineup was you really got to see the way New Japan evolved and changed in the time of these first two acts, right? It is insane how different this feels and looks to what we get in the 2010s. Like, whatever your preference is fine, because I definitely think there's truth to what Oracle said about this. First two matches feel more... the difference in like vibe feels more extreme to what you get in the States. But that New Japan presentation you get in the 2010s is such a kind of established signature thing now. Going back to this visual is jarring, I find, at times, by comparison of what we have ahead of us. It's wild, the Musketeers, and obviously, Kazushi skips a few chapters, but, Alex, they really got to see New Japan transform, right? And Tanahashi very much steering the ship in that regard.
Yeah, and I think the different versions of history would lead you to different answers, because it looked like Nakamura was going to be the ace for the company going after the whole Brock debacle, but then it's Muto he loses it to, right? So Muto can be the coronation for Tanahashi to become the real ace. And so there's some some interesting history there. But yeah, absolutely, that, all due respect to Katsuyori Shibata, I don't think people would hold him today in the same regard as Nakamura and Tanahashi from like a star perspective.
Right.
But yeah, that was definitely that was the new ship. Inoki had tried some stuff that didn't work out, and they had to find some sturdy pieces to put into place to build the future on, and those were the folks they did it with.
Yes, indeed. And before, we move forward here.
Not to question Inokiism, by the way.
Yeah, of course. This is shortly before what we just watched. Is shortly before the kind of that transformation that we're so familiar with takes place. Chaos is formed in like mid 09, and with that comes all the different pieces that would make Shinsuke Nakamura the guy that I think fans would fall in love with across the globe. Before we do that, do we have any other matches you want to highlight from before Chaos, before King of Strong Style, before all the theatrics and flamboyance that we associate with Nakamura? Any matches come to mind at all, boys?
To accentuate the positive that was Inokiism, in May of 2003, on a hybrid New Japan show that saw matches from New Japan, Noah, because Kobashi was on the card, and then also a smattering of like allegedly shoot MMA fights. That's the one Machida's on. That might be the one with the famous clip of Inoki slapping Machida after he wins his fight. But anyway, Shinsuke Nakamura fought Gan Norte, who was a 6'11" K1 kickboxer. Any folks who played the K1 PS2 game back in the day would be familiar with that fella. As far as actual wrestling matches go, I feel the need to call the Brock match isn't as bad as history has said it is. It's interesting to watch. It's short. That's the thing. And I think just historically, because it's a January 4th Dome Show main event, people think it's trash, and it's a decent effort. I know it's pretty polarizing. I thought the Kurt match is pretty cool. The closing stretch of that match fucking rules. And in looking that up today, the date of that, I never knew that later in 2008, New Japan hosted a tag match that saw AJ Styles and Hiroshi Tanahashi take on Kurt Angle and Nakamura teaming together. Which just sounds insane, delightful. But at this point, I think the only other thing outside of that, just calling out from the first act, is the oddity anomaly of his one TNA match he worked on their syndicated television program against primetime Elix Skipper. And
2 minutes 13 seconds on that one, by the way.
Well, that would have been around the same time they brought in Tanahashi to work AJ on a pay-per-view that I think they went like 7 minutes or something, and AJ won clean. But a different time. My understanding is AMC is killing it in the ratings, so they came back around. But
hey, I got it on right now, brother.
I will say, just myself personally, in recent years, I've found a bit of interest in this era of Nakamura's career as like the shooter style, and probably just because we know what he went on to do, that this part of it seems more like trivial at this point.
Yes, I would agree. So, with Chaos forming, with Shinsuke adjusting his presentation, his style, the Bomaye getting over huge as like a deadly finish, and him, making that his thing, eventually adopting the King of Strong style in a very kind of I think this got lost over time because obviously he did need the fuck out of people, but the whole thing originally with the King of Strong style was it was heat because like he acted in a way entirely at odds with the Inoki vibe, right? With all of the flamboyance and the dancing. That was originally the idea. And as he becomes a revered and adored wrestler, I think it just became a sincere, like, oh yeah, King of Strong Style. But
Yeah.
originally it was him poking fun at that idea, while, yes, kneeing people in the face. And along the way, something happens that I think is very, very cool, and I always love when this is the case. He becomes attached to the Intercontinental title, meaning that belt for a lot of us is literally just Shinsuke's belt. Now, I understand there's an era of New Japan post-Shinsuke that changes that for people, and obviously the belt goes on for years afterwards, and a lot of people associate Naito with it. For a lot of us, it's just Shinsuke's belt, and the whole thing with that belt was he was able to kind of establish it as, you know, equal to the IWGP Heavyweight title. So much so that in between our two Dome matches we're covering here, he main events with Tanahashi for the IC title, right? They win the infamous poll that fuels Naito's, you know, unraveling and all that good stuff. So I just think that's a pivotal point in the sense that, you know, Shinsuke gets the huge push out the gate. He has those couple world title reigns, but his true success as a star is being bigger than needing that belt, right? And he makes this other belt. Because let's be real, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the night where they crowned the first Intercontinental champ with love to MVP, who I'm very fond of. That was not presented as the fucking World Series of wrestling, let me tell you. That was like, it was a pretty modest affair, you know, and eventually that belt becomes something very, very special, and Shinsuke is, to say he's the driving force would be an understatement. So, the presentation is coming together. They do the angle with Kazushi Shibata, the aforementioned Shibata, coming back, and Sakuraba with him, and there's this kind of element of this outside force of these shooters, right, coming in and shaking things up and having to rebuild the fences with Shibata and so on and so forth. But Sakuraba is our focus. January 4th, 2013, Wrestle Kingdom 7. Stan Hansen in attendance. You know, for the festivities, which is just godly. The idea of Stan being flown out to do this is so awesome. Professional wrestling as God intended. And this is a famous one. Oracle spoke about it at length earlier, so I'm going to go straight to him for this. Sakuraba, Nakamura. In an era of matches that drew critical acclaim, this one did exactly that, but did so in slightly different fashion. Oracle, talk to us.
Yeah, this is the best New Japan match of the 2010s that I've certainly ever seen. In fairness, there's a lot of it I haven't seen.
Yeah.
But I would say this is a full 5-star match. I think it's that good. This is a type of match that I prefer. This is the type of sort of shoot style stuff that you would see from like the 80s in New Japan and sort of UWF and things of that nature. I prefer that over the match that we get that we'll talk about here in a little bit, which is something that you can see on Dynamite every week. This match is legitimately one of the best matches of the decade of the 2010s. And Joe set it up wonderfully with Nakamura's sort of anti straight laced guy.
Mm-hmm.
Act like a goof off, do his dances,
Right.
be cocky. And Sakuraba was like the most like stone faced, like badass ever. And like it's fucking magic. The feeling out process it makes sense, and then that first knee hits, and then brother, it just gets the violence is just remarkable. Yeah, one of the best matches in probably the last 15 years. Absolutely tremendous match. Incredible finish. Yeah, this is yeah.
This is special.
Oh yeah.
You're all in, Oracle. I'm loving it. So,
Oh God, I love this match. I mean, we lost our fucking minds over on WKO, man. We were, getting tired of these Tanahashi matches. Much respect to the legend. Congratulations on your retirement. But we're getting tired of these guys who fucking, I mean, that were just, disrespecting, the Fujiwaras and stuff of the world, going out there and not doing what they were supposed to be doing out there in the ring, and these fellas did did the sons of Fujiwara and the sons of Tenryu Wright went out there and had a fucking match. Sons of Inoki, I'm sure Inoki was very proud of this one.
Wow.
Of course, I don't know if he was involved by that point. I don't believe he was, but whatever.
Yeah. So maybe give him a link, brother link. I do love, whenever you do the shoot stuff, like it's a tough thing to navigate. Obviously, Sakuraba is he's pretty experienced in the shoot fight, from what I understand. He's had a fist fight or two in his time. The cadence of the early standoff and like striking is so good, and the way it builds that big firefight and the explosion of action, it is magnificently navigated. I think it's wonderfully paced in that regard. Bobby, I would think, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I would guess this is a style that you're less familiar with in the Oracle of Wrestling. You probably have never used phrases like the sons of Fujiwara in your time.
That'd be correct.
Yeah, that'd be correct. Okay, good. With that in mind, what did you make of this, Bob?
I thought it was outstanding. I'm with
Okay,
Oracle. There's a little bit of feeling out process, but it's just the one slap or whatever, and then from there it's just on. Both guys just turning up the intensity, strikes and chokes and slaps, and Shinsuke gets kneed and then he gives one right back, and it ruled, man. It was an incredible time. I think it's only 10 minutes or whatever, but it's just they make the most of it and finish rules. Just outstanding stuff.
There's a lot of striking in this, Bob.
Yes.
A lot of physical striking, a lot of thunderous striking. What would you suggest to the grinners that are enjoying this? Could they replicate some of that to the like button?
Yeah, you could strike the like button.
Oh.
Brother.
Tremendous. Thank you, Bobby. Alex, have you heard of this Sakuraba guy? He seems pretty cool, man.
Yeah. My understanding is he might have been in a shoot fight or two.
Yeah.
Joking aside, for those who are listening who aren't quite sure to what extent, Sakuraba was like, Joe, it's safe to say he's one of the most famous Japanese mixed martial arts fighters of all time.
Yes, no question. He was an unbelievable attraction at the height of Pride Fighting Championship. Like, unfathomably so. Like, from what we understand, a genuine celebrity, right? Fair to say?
Yeah. Yeah, and the whole story, we're not here to talk about him, but like a really brief, his whole thing was he was ostensibly Takada's young boy, and Nobuhiko Takada was an attraction in his own right and a good fake shoot fighter, but when his young boy started taking on real fights, he did fairly well for himself. And for those who recently watched The Smashing Machine, one of the other big stories to come out of that event that is chronicled in that movie was Sakuraba defeating the legendary Horace Gracie in a no time limit fight that went 6 rounds at 15 minutes apiece. The two men fought for an hour and a half until the Gracies had to throw in the towel in the dome. And that's a defining moment in mixed martial arts, man, when Sakuraba's hands go in the air for that victory. But also equally an accomplished professional wrestler and a great one at that. Point of the story being, if there's a guy suited to do this shoot style pro wrestling, it is most certainly one Kazushi Sakuraba, who as recently as 2024 was still tuning out match of the year candidates. For those who didn't see his bout with Santino Marella at
awesome
Josh Barnett's Bloodsport, you may think we're kidding, but that match fucking rules.
Awesome. Yeah.
And much like this match rules. And yes, we're full into the as we know, the charisma, what did Michael Cole always have to call him? The rock star, Shinsuke Nakamura. We're fully entrenched in that era. I don't speak Japanese. I know a few phrases, but I know some things. And one of them was Nakamura attempts to throw a head kick at Sakuraba, and the commentator goes, Miko Kurokappa. It's like, I know what that means. The commentators are also talking about shootbox at some point, I assume because of Sakuraba's rivalry with them. The reaction to like the arm bars in this, and specifically, the flying one that Nakamura hits, the crowd is just feverish for this. The knee, I mean, that's one of the famed internet wrestling community gifs of Sakuraba kneeing the shit out of Nakamura, and it was a spot that was replicated in the aforementioned AJ Styles match on Saturday night's main event, as obviously an homage to that. And yeah, I mean, the strike exchanges are wonderful. It's just a great match, and it's I am obviously a pundit of this blood sport infusion and this idea of doing, because to me this is kind of where I saw wrestling going a few years ago. Obviously I was wrong with that. Me and Antonio Inoki, our ideas did not pan out, but it also can go too far when people aren't good at it, and it can look really silly. But when you have two guys like this that can carry themselves in like a professional fight that way, but also know the inner workings of putting together a professional wrestling match, and you get something like this, I don't know if I'm going to go as far as my brother Oracle to say it's one of the best matches of the last 15 years, but this match is fucking fantastic. And it definitely one of those to go out of your way to check out if you've never seen it before. And Sakuraba, being a true student of the game, does the Hogan WrestleMania 6 kick out where he kicks out at 3.00001. Yes, he's well up done. Quick. Great match.
One of my issues with the shoot style, however you want to phrase it, is when, and it's a hard thing to avoid, when you have that vibe of like, now these fake wrestlers are going to fight for real. Yes. That's a really difficult thing.
Killer Cross. Yeah.
It's why you and I disagree on the Joe Angle match, right? Because I feel that has an element of that, where it's like now they're taking this seriously. See, they've got trunks on, like that's. What I always loved about this match is that Shinsuke never sacrificed. Like, he's just Shinsuke, isn't he? Like, through and through. He doesn't sacrifice anything, or it doesn't feel like he's changing or being like, now I'm not doing any of the fake stuff, I'm going to be real. Instead, it feels more like he is meeting Sakuraba head on in his game, in his world. And because of Shinsuke's offense, he's able to basically remain entirely the Shinsuke Nakamura that we've come to know and love within the outline of a Sakuraba match. It's in that way, it's really quite genius, right? Like, at no point does Shinsuke do something in this match where you kind of go, that imposter smell doesn't feel right. It's like the whole time it feels like saying he would do in a normal match.
And Natty Neidhart showing up with her hair rode up,
Right, but seriously, like, genuinely, I'm not even trying to be a dick about this, but like, Natty's thing is, Natalya elevates, Natty decimates. He's like, you're outright basically saying, like, when I'm Natalya, I put people over.
Yeah. One of the great matches of 80s New Japan is Kira Maeda versus Danica Nielsen, which is kind of a very similar match if you've never seen it.
I've not.
Where Nielsen's kind of the like legit shoot fighter. I believe he's a kickboxer, if I'm not mistaken. And Maeda just kind of is his typical grumpy asshole self, and he's Nielsen's this guy who's like trying to just be like he's doing his thing, and it's an incredible spectacle match. I mean, I fucking love that match too.
Yeah.
But
it's a tightrope, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a really interesting way of putting it. I mean, obviously the best way to pull that off is Sakuraba, Minoru Suzuki, Josh Barnett, people who wrestle like that all the time, is like, that's how you can kind of execute that. But I see exactly what you're saying of, I'm trying to think now of the people and the blood sports that, are typically bombastic. On a recent Major Brothers, Cardona did say they tried to get him to work a blood sport. And he was just like, no, because I think he kind of sees what we're talking about.
That would have been outstanding. He lost out on my pay-per-view, but I'll tell you that much for sure. That would have been in Cardona doing a sort of Phil Baroni shtick. Oh, my goodness.
That's the one blood sport Gunther, then Walter worked. That's what made it so genius. He just had a Walter match. He did that in a blood sport ring. But yes, circling back to our subject, I think that is the genius of Shinsuke Nakamura. Is, you just mentioned, it's a tightrope, and this fella, particularly in this match, was able to straddle that tightrope brilliantly.
Yeah, and it's, it has to be said, this is a time where, and it's part of why Oracle would kind of become disillusioned with New Japan. This is a time where this style is basically entirely absent from mainstream Japanese wrestling, not just New Japan, right? It's not like Noah was doing a lot of this stuff, and it's kind of remarkable how well this plays at the Tokyo Dome in 2013, which, yes, speaks to Sakuraba's fame, but it also speaks to that balance, right, Oracle? Like, this was, for the time, this had become increasingly uncommon, this vibe.
Yeah, by that point, New Japan had very much kind of, worked kind of the sort of in a lot of ways, it was the next generation of what ROH was in the 2000s, right? Sort of like these, long work rate style matches,
Right.
big dramatic epic work style matches, kickouts, big moves, kind of big threads throughout a match, building to a finish or whatnot, kind of mix of all these things. And obviously, look, Inokiism was just terribly damaging to Japanese professional wrestling, particularly in New Japan. I mean, New Japan in the 2000s was just, suffered terribly for that. I mean, just once they went full into that stuff in 97, 98, 99, I mean, it just it killed their business. And I'm someone who enjoys an awful lot of that stuff, but I mean, aesthetically and creatively, it created a lot of problems and issues. But by this point, because really it was 2011, 2012, the rise of Tanahashi, where they, New Japan's business, got to that boom and whatnot. And by this point at Wrestle Kingdom 7, they're obviously doing a great job business-wise. And someone who watched, I didn't watch everything, but I watched a fair amount 2012 through 2014 New Japan. This match in particular stood out because it was so, different than what you would get, because the variety was kind of being lost in some ways, and that was all over the world. That's not me just
of course,
and that's everywhere. I mean, wrestling today is totally homogenized, which is a shame. But I mean, this was a again, this is one of my favorite matches of the last 15 years for sure. But I mean, I jump on New Japan all the time, but New Japan 80s is like my favorite thing ever. But New Japan 80s also has, the New Japan versus UWF war, and it's all, basically this.
Right. But I think it's actually, this is a quick sidebar, but and it's an interesting conversation. I think it's okay to separate what actually happened in terms of the audience response to what your taste was, where your taste was at, in the sense that, like, where Hiroshi Tanahashi took the main event style was clearly, and in this case we can use the word objectively, the right thing for that business, right? There's no question. Yeah. But I don't think that means that you have to go, I mean, obviously I did love that, but I don't think that means that you had to love it because it worked for the masses of Japan. Like, I think sometimes we conflate those things too often, right? Like, I think you're still well within your rights to go, yeah, but I don't really like it as much. Fair enough, right? That's, I mean, at that point, that's kind of the front and back of it, I think. But it does mean that this match stands out more. What do you think Stan Hansen made of this, Bobby? He was in attendance, of course. He was there for the presentation. What do you think he made of this?
Probably liked it.
Yeah,
imagine. Seems like something you enjoy.
I think that would look like him and Shinsuke. That would have been an interesting... Stan reacting to Shinsuke's theatrics would have been an interesting side.
I'm going to tell you something. Stan Hansen would not have allowed him a second to do any of his fucking theatrics.
Yeah, but do you think he could have caught fire? Because Shin's a bit of a... He's like an actual shooter, right? So...
Oh, fair point. Fair point.
Shoot armbar on the fucking lefty lariat. Can you imagine?
Oh, shit.
Maybe they have a fight. I don't know. Alex, who you got? Shin or Stan Hansen? Time machine we're talking here.
Me, the fans.
Yeah. All right, so it's time to... That was a segment we all just got really romantic about, the magic of the Tokyo Dome, Kazushi Sakuraba, the brilliance of Shinsuke Nakamura, and things are about to change slightly. So now, as I said, a year after that, he main events the Dome with Tanahashi for the IC title, which is a huge part of like Okada and Naito's story too. The way that they was able to embrace reality and to make it as part of the wrestler's stories, almost in a sports-style presentation, dare I say, is superb. I've always loved that. And then at Wrestle Kingdom 9, we're back at the Dome again, of course, January 4th. for a show that is, and I can't stress this enough for fans that go into New Japan afterwards or newer fans, Wrestle Kingdom 9 is a moment in time. Because Global Force Wrestling, yes, Global Force Wrestling, Jeff Jarrett, yes, Jeff Jarrett, got this show on US pay-per-view. And in addition to that, they got Jim Ross as lead announcer. He was also a match striker, but we'll talk about that another time. This is at a time where Jim Ross hasn't been in the booth at all for time, right? He did some NXT stuff. He got fired over the Ric Flair situation. He's not been in the game, basically, Bob, right? Is that fair to say?
Yes, correct.
So anyone who's like a smart fan has heard all about the New Japan boom. Like, oh my God, they're having these incredible matches. AJ Styles is there now. Bullet Club's the hottest thing. They got this T-shirt. Holy shit. The guy that used to be Festus is now in a tag team. All this stuff's going on. And I swear to God, everything I just said was a real conversation going on online.
Yeah.
That was always real. Ring of Honor's their partner, so you see some of the guys work the States now. Shinsuke wrestled Kevin Steen in Ring of Honor. All this is going on. And they get on this pay-per-view date. January 4th was going to be live on pay-per-view with Jim Ross on the call. And it was such a big deal. And coming out of it, the big story was this match. It was about Kota Ibushi and Shinsuke Nakamura. This was the match that captured the imagination of the fans that bought this pay-per-view. I actually went out my way to find the Jim Ross call for this. Not because it enhances the match, because let's be frank, it doesn't. But it does highlight what I just described, right? That moment in time element. Alex, we spoke this before, the Cormier Jones, link.
Lead in.
Wild, yeah. But I'm not exaggerating here. Right? This was a really big deal at the time.
Oh, yeah. That was the whole deal. We had a bunch of people over, and it was basically to see who could make it to the end of Wrestle Kingdom. But, yeah, you're exactly right. The Jim Ross on the call, and with all due respect to Jim, he's had a rough few years.
Right.
I would say he was closer to Jim Ross in his prime on this show than he has been recently. And I for whatever reason, I always remember he has a genuinely great Jim Ross call in the main event.
Yes.
Where Okada hits the drop kick during Tanahashi's comeback, and he even drops, "Oh my God!" Yeah, this was a big fucking deal, man. It was the most accessible things had been at that point in time, and it just felt like all the parts were coming together. But you're exactly right. The story coming out of this was the Shinsuke Nakamura Kota Ibushi match, which, for me personally, I'd only seen Ibushi in like Chikara and shit. So like seeing him on this stage was pretty jarring.
Couple of things. You mentioned the pieces coming together at the right time. This is 1 month or just mere weeks after New Japan World launches. Meaning that if you got hooked by this show, you were $8 away from getting access to everything they stream live?
Yep.
I mean, it can't be overstated, folks. Wherever you're at with wrestling now, wherever you watch, the wrestling landscape we have now is directly fueled by what was happening then. No question, right? What the AEW... Dude, they can throw out Ishii graphics today. The appeal of them is almost entirely, not to disrespect where Ishii is now, but they're almost entirely fueled by the nostalgia for this time we're describing now.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It meant a lot to that audience. And so, that's why I wanted to get this commentary. Go for it, Alex.
Just important calling out some of the undercard matches. Former Grin Grappler greats Jeff Jarrett and Shelton Benjamin were accentuated on the undercard of this particular Wrestle Kingdom.
Wow. What was the... Go on, keep going. Sorry, Molly.
Well, and it was also... This will provide differing answers, but this was also a big night for a young Kenneth Jerome Omega when he beat Taguchi for the light, or the what they call it, junior heavyweight championship.
Yeah.
And I believe this is right around the time he got initiated into the Bullet Club as the cleaner, and that. Yeah. So again, to your point, this is like a turning point moment in what the following years of wrestling were going to be.
This was such a big deal. This sounds funny now, but it's again true. I promise. Cornette reviewed this show, and at the time that was like insane that he'd watched a modern wrestling show. He didn't watch anything, did he? In that time, 2015.
Oh yeah,
I remember it was a big deal. Yeah, people were like, Cornette's watching this show. This is great. And obviously immediately turned on and saw the Young Bucks, which good bit. Suzuki and Sakuraba have a UWFI rules match. Or I don't know if you've ever seen that, but it seems like something you would like.
My God.
Kota and Shibata win the tag straps from the Good Brothers. The AJ Naito match is sick, dude. It's so good. It's like 14 minutes. I remember it vividly. So, we say all this to say this is a rematch from a beloved G1 2013 match, which got rave reviews. And it is a huge night for Kota Ibushi. In Japan, that's the story, right? Ibushi rising up to this level and shining like a superstar. Elsewhere, this is really a coming out party for both in a lot of ways, for the reasons we just described. Now, let's get out of the way now. The Oracle of Wrestling thought this was the worst match we watched. And I wanted to set the stage with all of that grandeur and Bomber, so you could take it away. Oracle, this was not for you, is from what I understand.
Okay, this match is pretty good. This is like 3.5 stars. No, seriously, it's a good match. It's like 3.5. But to me, it's just like, it honestly hurts in the sense that, like, I do get the sense that I probably would have liked it a little bit more at the time. But when you've watched wrestling way too consistently for the last 11 years, I've seen so many matches work this way that it's just not.
I actually get that. Yeah.
It's actually
I don't agree,
not
but I
that
get
different than a lot of stuff you would see.
Yeah.
That's actually my biggest criticism of this style in particular, is that didn't really stand out. And of course I wasn't, and again, I was never a big New Japan guy. I didn't watch the show live, didn't have the investment. So I'm not, there's no like investment there for me to like have, because I mean, obviously this match is a very well loved match, and with that, I didn't even know the show was on American Paper. I had no idea.
Yeah.
So you literally told me 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
But I mean, that also shows you that the world that I lived in was a lot different than everybody else.
You were watching the TLC replay.
Roman Reigns about to win the Rumble, baby.
Worse than anybody else's. It's just I just wasn't.
You were still pumped about the fucking Ziggler Harper ladder match, bro. I'm with you.
I probably was.
Hold on,
bloody good. That was bloody good. Yeah. Bloody good.
Oracle, being genuine, where do you stand on Kota Ibushi?
I'm not a fan of Kota Ibushi. I don't think he's terrible or anything. I think he's a fine athlete.
Yes.
Who
good kid.
I mean, I mean he's a good wrestler. I just don't.
He's not your style.
He's just not for me.
Fair.
We joke and I laugh because it's just your delivery, but I actually completely get, like, stylistically, this is increasingly familiar. Because this is basically an offensive showdown, right? Like
this match is not bad. I mean, I'm never going to pretend this match is bad.
You go 3.5.
It's just, it's good. I
get what you're saying, though. This is like so commonplace now. This structure of a match,
Yeah. I think for a lot, for I don't speak for Alex, but for me, there's such an attachment to this match that it's impossible for me to watch it through that lens, even though I think there's truth to what you're saying. One thing I would say is I do think beyond the action and the moves, there is a lot of personality to, like, the clash of Ibushi being really fucking weird and Shinsuke being really weird, but in their own ways. They're an odd pairing.
Shinsuke is kind of like I don't know. He's much more. Ibushi's so kid-like in his weirdness.
Yes. Yeah. And there's that moment where he has enough.
Really what Nakamura is. Nakamura doesn't have that sort of childlike. And I don't even mean that to be in a weird. I mean, that's just no. He's always been kind of like this weird, like.
Especially in this match.
He basically acts like an 8th grader. That's basically what Ibushi acts like.
That's a shoot, brother.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. Like, and in this particular dynamic, Shinsuke really, like, big leagues him too, which makes it. That's part of the match I really love. Oracle, before we move on, before I throw elsewhere, any comments on Matt Striker and Jim Ross on this one, Oracle?
No.
Mark it out, bro.
There's an undercurrent every time Matt Striker talks of Jim Ross. Just
Well,
a
I say
quiet
that. I
resentment.
say that because I didn't listen to this English commentary
Fair.
version.
That's fair. That's fair. That's very, very fair. Alex, you mentioned your experience of this show, your memories of this show. Fair to say it's a very different watch for us with that memory and that nostalgia behind it, right? This is a pretty special, important match of the time.
Oh yeah, and I listened to it, the Japanese commentary, just for the emotion, baby, of it all. Ibushi doing the good vibrations is funny, where he like kind of like surfs in the corner on Nakamura. Yeah, I mean it's a. Oh man, Kota Ibushi is a wrestler that I just never have like seen in him what other people do, but then like every time he does that shit where he just stops selling and just lights people up, I lose my fucking mind. Like that's like a regular occurrence for me. He does that here. He did that in his match with Okada at Wrestle Kingdom a few years ago. That was 2020, I think. But then Bob wore a hat and everything fell apart in the world. But this match is very good. To your point, Joe, I enjoy the story it tells. Can someone help me out here? What does Ibushi call that move where he runs and springs to the top rope and does a backflip to the outside? It's got like some cute name to it.
Someone in the chat will have it.
Yeah, thank you. But yeah, I love the just dickheadedness and I guess immaturity, as we're saying, of the two of them, to the point where the match breaks down into punches, and then it breaks down into them doing punches behind the ref's back. That one where Nakamura pushes the ref into Ibushi and then just runs and punches him in the head. I was just like, let's fucking go. And I do love that it was still always called the last ride, the power bomb that Ibushi does. Last ride on! And when he fucking drops him down. It's so good. And the super German, that's like the spot I remember from watching it live, where he props him up in the corner and then he pulls him up to the top rope and German suplexes him off the top. And I think one of the things with Ibushi I can say what will turn me off about him is we'll see like these moments of like real like guttural reactions and visceral realism in his matches and really good strikes. And then the way he sells the Boombaye at the end, where he does like a fucking Bugs Bunny flop. I'm like, all right, that just killed it all. But to the point, in the moment in 2015 when this match happened, it was clearly not necessarily a changing of the guards, but it was for a lot of people like seeing new colors for the first time. And to Oracle's point, Jesus Jones, this was 11 years ago, so there was fucking 16-year-old kids who watched this match and shaped their entire approach to wrestling after this type of shit. And I think that's why now it's become a bit too commonplace. But this match certainly has a very important place in history. And I really like to speak to Nakamura. He works this match almost like a tweener, or whatever. Like he's clearly like, the baby face, but he's like, this little shit doesn't have anything on me, just the way he works this match. And yeah, a fine piece of business, outstanding Nakamura performance, and a really pivotal match at a really important time for New Japan and for wrestling outside of the WWF.
Yeah, the big talk coming out of this was, holy shit, when are they going to wrestle again? When can Ibushi dethrone Nakamura? The way things worked out, they seldom share the ring ever again. They only 3 times in multi-man tags. Just not a thing they went back to. Obviously, Shin was only there for another year. Ibushi gets hurt, I want to say, in mid 2015, I want to say. So, by the way, I will say this. Togo Dome co-main, 20 minutes, 12 seconds.
Not
Get
bad.
a lot done, bro. This match has got a crazy reputation. It's saying that I remember like very, very vividly as being a match of the year show still and stuff. And 20 minutes now would feel a lot.
Yeah, speaking of which, Oracle, you sign off on that Gabe Kidd Omega winning match of the year in the Observer Awards?
Oh, I never watched it. Don't plan to.
I think it was like 42 minutes or something. It was something.
The funniest thing is, on Blood alone, I think it gets an Oracle 3.5, I think. Because there's juice, dude. Juice of the dome.
Yeah, I've seen the clip. I've seen some clips.
Yeah, seen some clips.
3.25.
I read about it in the paper. They talked about it on the radio one night. I heard a little bit about it. All right, Bobby, do you remember this time frame with like the US pay-per-view stuff?
I do. Yeah, this is when New Japan, like you said, kind of really started getting big. Jim Ross is there. Dave has a lot about Jim Ross, especially for this match. So I haven't been doing the Dave stuff. There hasn't been a ton of it for what we've had so far. But yes, I do. This was a huge deal. This is when, and especially you got to think of what WWE is at this time too.
Right.
Like they're not doing great. I mean, Punk's gone, Brian's gone.
Phil?
Like, yes. So yeah, I mean, people are really just looking for an alternative, and they turn to New Japan, and I think this is a spectacle. I don't think Dave gave it 5 stars. I don't think I agree with that. And it's got like 9.6 on Cage Match, which makes it like one of the 10 or so best matches of all time. Which I don't know if I agree with that part either, but like, it's a spectacle. I didn't watch it in the moment. I just saw it for the first time today, so I guess I mean I'm kind of used to it in the same vein as Oracle at this point. But like, I can definitely see it. That German suplex is awesome. That jumping moonsault thing that Alex talked about was awesome. And just kind of making Shinsuke look like the biggest star in the world. And apparently JR did a lot to kind of make him seem like the biggest star in the world as well. I liked it. I didn't like it as much as the last match we did. And like I said, I don't think it's quite, where Dave has it, but it's good. It's good. It's a spectacle.
The presentation of Nakamura should be noted. The entrance, the king of strong style here, right? It's the moment in time. Bobby, what does Dave have here? Let's get to a real fucking expert. Get in.
Let's see. Ross put Nakamura over as one of the most charismatic athletes in the world, comparing his unique charisma to his love of Freddie Mercury and Michael Jackson, with the fact that he's an ass kicker, noting that he fought in MMA. They pumped him up as maybe the greatest talent in the business, and Nakamura in this match came across the best wrestler in the world today. Only guy on the show who got a special entrance. So yeah, really, really high hopes for him. And then Dave just kind of does the whole match review thing, but called an all-time classic match, 5 stars, all that good stuff.
I'm with Dave on this one. I don't know about full 5, but I'm with Dave. This is a fucking classic.
Yeah.
No amount of AR Fox matches is changing my mind on this one.
Whoa.
I like AR Fox. That's why I said AR Fox. I like him. I like AR Fox.
Okay.
If I'd have said someone else, I've been punching down, Alex,
Yeah.
This is the Grin Grappler. All right.
We need to call out one subconscious, because this is the last time we'll hear it on this this lineup. His New Japan theme song was absolutely fantastic. And then also I need to, as an investigative reporter, do my due diligence and admit when I'm wrong. The Lame Kid Kenny Omega match was only 30 minutes. What I was thinking of in my brain going 42 was Zack Sabre Jr. against Shota.
Now, that match fucking sucked.
For fuck's sake.
Yeah. Now, that match fucking sucked. I'll tell you that much for sure. Yeah, that was a rough night. That's the one where I have like a mental breakdown on the Grin along. I think at one when I yell at the screen, like, what are they doing? What is going on? It seems like Shota's kicking out though, which is good. So, just a couple extra notes for me before we move on. I just love Shin selling in this so much. When he does that wide eye sell on the knockout strike, when he just face plants and stares down the oh my goodness. Love it so much. I love when Nakamura gets petulant and nasty and stomps away and Ibushi fires up in the fashion that Alex mentioned. I just think this match is... it's just every piece of this to me, like I have a connection to. And at 20 minutes, I think it's so tight for a main event match.
Yeah.
To the point where the one thing I always forget about is when I rewatch it is like how quick the bridge to the finish is by New Japan 2015 standards.
Yeah, it was tighter than I remembered. It was shorter than I remembered. And I do, to your point, I love Knock hits the boom by to the back and Ibushi like rolls through and no-sells it and gets up and he's like almost laughing and then turns back around. And then that's when they do like the knee clash together. Yeah, the just fantastic finishing sequence.
You know the yow thing that Shinsuke does?
Yeah.
Matt Striker hits one of those.
Oh, God.
And while Jim Ross doesn't say anything, you feel an intense hatred emerge in the booth when he does it. It's just terrific.
Fucking hell.
So, yeah, there we go. Now, 2015, for a lot of fans, was, their route into New Japan with World and all that good stuff. Shinsuke has an interesting year. A lot of hardcore fans kind of... They wasn't down on him, but like they thought it was a little bit of a drop-off. The Goto stuff, I don't think, is as good as it could have been in the middle of the year for the IC title. He kind of floats around for the first half of the year. I do think his G1 is fucking awesome. He has the final with Tanahashi. He has the semi-final, de facto semi-final anyway, with Okada, which is one of my personal favorites. He has the power struggle match with Machine Gun, and then the aforementioned Tokyo Dome send-off with AJ Styles, and obviously the actual send-off that follows that. So as we head to the States, let's put a bow on Act 2 by calling out some other matches. I just mentioned, again, AJ, Tokyo Dome, Tanahashi and Okada from 2015, G1, Ibushi from 2013, Anderson Power Struggle 2015. Any others that come to mind, boys, when it comes to Act 2 of Shinsuke Nakamura's career?
That Machine Gun match is sweet, baby.
Yeah.
All bits aside for this platform, that match is fantastic.
Yeah.
I watched that. I worked the day after. I remember watching it in my office when I worked downtown. No bits. The Bad Luck Fale match. I can't remember specific because they had several, but it's the one where Nakamura gets his nose broken and is like bleeding all over the place. That match is fucking awesome. I have it written down. I can't remember if it's during the Shooter era or during this time. He had a match with Takayama that was a banger, so that might have been more specific to the first act, but yeah. Yeah, of course the AJ match, the 2016 one. That's like that's a match that I would probably hold in regard higher than the Ibushi one in terms of a moment in time and also the quality of the match. So yeah. Check it.
Yeah. Steam match comes in the chat. The Steam match is fun. Very fun.
Oh, he had a match, if you can believe it, Joey. He had a really good match with Roderick Strong in 2015 when he went over to Ring of Honor. Did you catch him at any of the Rev Pro shows he did around this point in time?
Yeah. I saw him wrestle. He wrestled Big Damo, who would go on to be Killian Dane.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And he also wrestled, let me make sure. Yes, he wrestled a fellow out of Umbrella, too. Double Shot, Weekend Loop, Rev Pro. I saw him there. Business. Yeah. Damo nearly killed him. Damo used to do this move. Big Damo was a fucking... I hope he's still out there. I don't know where he's up to, but he's a good professional wrestler. So I don't mean this is an insult to him. But he used to do this thing where he would do like an inverted DDT, but like high angle. I think Finn Balor did it for a bit. And Shin, I don't think, knew he was going down. So he like fucking spiked him, and the crowd gasped. They thought they'd just seen, York Hall host the end of Shinsuke Nakamura's career, which would have been a fault. But yeah, I got to see him and
followed up with a 619.
Yeah, not quite. Didn't they also do Okada and him versus
Briscoes?
Yeah. So there's some fun stuff there. I think, speaking of Rev Pro, I wasn't at this show, but I think his Roddy match at Rev Pro is even better than the Ring of Honor one, I think.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm sure you remember that New Japan tour of Ring of Honor in 2015 where all the guys came back saying like Roderick Strong was the best wrestler there. Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of the greatest wrestlers ever.
Yeah, it's true. There was someone else Nakamura wrestled during that tour that allegedly he did not think very highly of and let it be known. Yeah, you can put that together.
Genuinely, jokes aside, I had a moment recently. The lads in Self-Made, they watched the Tanahashi Cole Anderson match, the title match, the famous one.
Yeah.
And it was like they do match requests. Someone requested it, and so I was summoned by Ibu to be there for it. And I realized halfway that we've done so many bits that now people think the whole thing is a bit. And so like people are watching it going, "Whoa, hold on, this is actually good? This one?" And it's like, yeah, he has a lot of these good matches. That was kind of for a while. That was Cole Anderson's thing, was he would have really good matches. I
remember in the Nakamura one. That's back when he was like Big Carl, and he does the fucking money clip, the buckshot lariat in that match.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting one. And that's one of those things that's actually become a generational thing, I think, legitimately. Yeah. I don't think Perk was doing what I just said, by the way. I was using that example. So yeah. I digress. But any other matches we want to call out from this out? And that's about, we've covered a lot of them, right? We've got some Battle at Fale talk, bro, so.
Great worker.
Yeah. Well, he was fun. He looked cool. He'd have been a good Hasbro.
Yes.
Better LJN.
I don't know. The Hasbro. I feel like we had this talk on the Grin along because the Hasbro, he could have the fucking Akeem, Andre the Giant, like Yoko, the big belly that you pull him back and they like charge forward. Yeah.
Cardona, if you're listening, there's a market here, 2-man market. All right. Anyway, so there's that iconic image, right? Him and AJ Styles, fist bump, center ring, Tokyo Dome, and everyone's just so like overwhelmed with triumph to watch that. Wrestle Kingdom 10 is an unbelievable show. Genuinely like magical. How can you not be romantic about wrestling level night?
Agreed.
And then the next day, I believe it was Dave. I'm almost certain it was Dave. Yes, the deal is AJ and Shinsuke are leaving.
Yep.
And the Good Brothers have told the story about all of them individually going to Ghetto and giving them their notice.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure that was great. And it was like, man, that was the end of an era. And the fear was that was the end of a boom and a peak. And in reality, and credit to Ghetto, who everyone has fun with Ghetto, but like, dude, it was not the case. Like, they actually got bigger after that, which is crazy. And Naito obviously explodes and so on and so forth. But Kenny Omega, holy shit, who saw what, this level of style he would become in Japan.
Yep.
And it's all because of those guys leaving. In a similar vein, to be honest, in the sense that, like, this is not the perfect comp, but you'll get what I mean. Who knows what comes of Steve Austin and The Rock if Razor and Diesel don't leave, right? Like, it has to, sometimes you don't know, like, how these things are going to work out. But they were off, and immediately talk began about what is this going to look like. They're going to change Shinsuke's name. Is he going to be a main roster guy? And like, there's a whole bunch of coverage, I'm sure, in the Observer. I read a little bit of it earlier when I was doing Full Sail prep, Bobby, about he's going to come to NXT, right? This was like a big debate at the time. What's he going to do? What they're going to do from packaging wise?
Yeah, I do have some of this. The NXT thing was, after Mystico went right to the main roster, the doctrine's been to send foreign stars, no matter how talented, to NXT and have them study English and the way WWE presents wrestling as well as the ring style. So that's why Shinsuke ended up in NXT. He also had 2 lessons for New Japan to learn from all 4 of those guys leaving, which I thought were pretty interesting. The first lesson is they need to sign their top guys to longer than 1-year deals. The top WWE talent that WWE relies on is signed for 8 to 10 years and renegotiated with long before the current deals expire. This prevents a rich billionaire from wanting to start out and be able to execute a raid. New Japan's 1-year deals expire in January, left them as sitting ducks for this. The second is to start a system where they just create their own stars from scratch, or instead of a system where they create their own stars from scratch, they should be open to poaching good young talent from other promotions. There's a lot of great young talent in Japan, or even smaller promotions that could work out great in New Japan. It's not the way of doing things, but WWE, whether in 1984, 1994, or 2014, has always been built more on taking talents that already worked in other promotions was already good.
Well, hold on there, pal. We make talent.
That was interesting. So, firstly, 8 to 10 year contracts.
Yeah, I don't think that was.
Is that a thing?
I think, like, for Undertaker level guys, maybe.
Oh, yeah. I guess,
like,
Shim was that. Yeah,
Maybe Triple H. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, like, Sean had one, maybe. But, like, yeah, it wasn't common, I don't think.
So, like, obviously, just before we go further, obviously Dave's right about, like, 1-year deals left him sitting dull. Like, obviously, he's right. But it would be an honest, in fairness to New Japan, like, the market was changing, and this was going to be an issue no matter what they did in terms of, like, if Shin had a 3-year deal, it doesn't change where we're inevitably going, right? You get what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah, exactly.
And again, to play devil's advocate in the situation, there was no precedent for the World Wrestling Federation coming and signing New Japan's top star.
Right. Mm-hmm. And now it's like,
yeah.
It actually is really important. We should probably put a pin in that, talk about that for a minute. Okay, so now we're at a time where if a guy gets over big in Japan, it's like someone's going to sign him in the States. Mm-hmm. That wasn't a thing. That wasn't how it worked before.
No.
It's like, like Kenta is important. We should note Kenta, but like, this is Noah was in a different place in 2013 or 14, whatever, than where this is here, bro. Like, this was unprecedented, legitimately.
Yeah, well, and he talks about that too. He said it was a surprise because no Japanese wrestler at that level has ever left the home company to sign with the U.S. promotion.
Yeah, there you go. This is like if in 1995 one of the pillars jumps to work with fucking Bret Hart, like
that's the whole point, and like it's something that it seems laughable at this point.
Yeah,
legitimately, up until fucking 2014, with when they got fucking Asuka and Kenta. The extent of Japanese wrestlers in the WWF, with the exception like of Inoki doing those in and outs in the 70s and early 80s, you had Bull Nakano, you had Jinsei Shinzaki, who wrestled as Akushi, that would be presented, yes, as Japanese wrestlers, but they were not to be taken seriously as like a top of the card act. Or, far more problematically, you'd have like Yoshitatsu's and fucking, what was that fella, the big dude who had like the geisha that was on SmackDown? Like, yeah, And so, just to set the stage, there was no precedent or any logical thought that would lead one to conclude they were going to sign Shinsuke Nakamura and then present him as Shinsuke Nakamura.
Right. But they did for a bit.
They did. And, you know, kind of the way history's gone, I think as it'll go, Asuka will be looked at more as like the revolutionary entity or individual that kind of broke that barrier or whatever you want to call it. But still, at the time it was insane. And I remember that's exactly right. All the talk was like, oh, they're going to strip him down, make him something different. And it was also the NXT thing because AJ, of course, obviously weeks after is in the Rumble. And then Gallows and Anderson, they debuted on the main roster, right?
They go to the main roster, but they do it after Mania. They actually wrap up with New Japan. Like, they do a whole other tour.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I as you can tell, I'm passionate about this because it's like sometimes people lose sight of that historically, that like it wasn't like a real thing. Yeah.
I'm on the same page with you, and I will say this. I agree that Asuka is the Triumph and then EO. I do think once there's distance, I think the sentiment will be a lot more favorable to what Shinsuke achieved.
Yeah, I agree.
We've lived it, and we've rolled our eyes at when Shin has looked like he'd robbed anyone else in the world, or when he's been like, de-emphasized, whatever. But like, he won the Rumble, and he has always been, well, not always, for most of his run, he's at least been like preserved as someone of relative importance. Relative, And I think that counts for something, dude. Because like, look, let's be real. What Asuka did was amazing, is amazing. What EO's doing is amazing. But there is a difference in the sense that, like, they're not swimming with the same sharks internally. In terms of talent, they're swimming with some serious sharks. Talking about Rhea, Bianca, but, Sasha before, Bayley. But it isn't the same, like, systematically, it isn't as hard to get to that spot as it is for the guys. Because we know with the guys, there's, like, a certain way of doing things. You know what I'm saying? So I think it is different.
To your point, they haven't made Nakamura to the point of, like if they wanted to, they could dust him off and make him Phil's program to bridge to like WrestleMania or something like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like they could, and fans would just be like, yeah, sure.
Right.
So yeah.
Ibu would be upset, but we'd be all right with it. Yeah.
What else is new?
Yeah, good. Excellent point. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think with distance, people will be more. There'll be a lot more low key. I think about the disappointments of Shin's run and kind of go, well, he did well for himself. So he debuts, of course. They actually do a thing where like they play a video, don't they? They play like a video where he announces he's coming in or something.
He touted in a challenge to Sami Zayn.
Yeah, and and he makes his debut at Dallas, and he has that entrance, that crowd reaction of that match, and we're going to talk about it a lot more in about 6 weeks on the flagship. We're going to be watching it as part of our take over Dallas Grin along on the flagship in early April. But
Great show.
It was just breathtaking, wasn't it? Absolutely breathtaking. It immediately conveyed to people that were just hearing about this guy coming in why people were so excited about Shinsuke Nakamura. Like, immediately. They managed to maintain Shin's presentation and actually even add a little gloss to it and make it even more big time than it already was. Like, it's a home run on him. As everyone kind of joked earlier, it's the peak of his entire run.
Yeah.
We all heard the music for the first time as Matt says in the chat. Like, it's magical, magical stuff. I don't want us to get too much into it because we're going to watch it, right? A couple months, so on this platform, I mean. So,
Joe, real quick,
Dallas, go for it. Yes.
Yeah, no. Before we got there, I forgot to ask this at the conclusion of the second act. I think I know the answer, but it's still worth asking. More annoying and insufferable parody T-shirts: the King of Strong Style or the Bullet Club?
It's a great question. Because the Bullet Club was in itself an undeniable parody, I think it's less insulting to do it there. The Strong Style stuff got really out of control, dude. Mm-hmm. Especially because it also did a terrible job of seriously conflating what Strong Style meant.
And it also, it got out of control to where things didn't make sense anymore. It was just in the style of the shirt. I remember Dylan Postel had a shirt that said King of Swoggle Style. It's like, what the fuck does that even mean, brother?
Yeah.
But
Well,
I'm not infallible. I had my Queen of Strong Style Nikki Bella T-shirt that I wore to Dallas that weekend. So
fair. Yes. Are they on? The Bella's like back. I haven't seen anything.
brother,
They-
that WrestleMania card looks reprehensible, but if we get a Rio versus fucking Bella Twins match, I will be doing victory laps for New York all weekend long.
You're a nasty guy. I hope you know that. So yeah, the Sami Zayn match is great. That's what I was. That's where we're at. It's amazing. I can't wait to watch it on the flagship in about 6 weeks. And then
It's
he gets
a
rolled.
once in a generation match, like legitimately. Yeah.
He wrestles Alex Riley on television, which was
Do
a
you know-
dream match for a lot of people.
Do you know who LT wrestled that weekend in Dallas, Joe?
Was it Wesley Blake?
Yes, at the Access. They didn't
Yeah.
tell anybody he was going to wrestle there and just randomly showed up.
That match was good.
Am I right about this? Hang on, I might be wrong about this.
Wait, was it Buddy? It might have been Buddy.
Okay, we're all
I thought it
all
was
over the
Wesley
place.
Blake.
We're all wrong. He wrestled Ty Dillinger
10?
and he wrestled Elias.
Oh,
He wrestled.
speaking of,
When did he wrestle Wes Blake? Oh, him and Aries wrestled Blake and Murphy.
Well, hold on.
Right, let me see if he ever worked. So now this is where you get in the weeds talking about Wesley Blake on the Shinsuke show, you know?
He had a
Okay.
singles match with Bud Matt at some point.
Okay, hang on. Wait, we're fine. I was looking for NXT. It's here, WrestleMania Access, April 3rd. It's after the TV matches I just listed. He goes 9 minutes with Wes Blake. What a fucking pro. And they run it back in July. Oh,
God,
man.
God bless.
One of the great rivalries, quite frankly. Great stuff. Excellent stuff. All right. Tremendous. Okay, so he does that. He works with those greats. He has a match with Austin Aries that I personally think is fucking awesome. No one else likes. Austin Aries is very short and Bob is a rival of. Thank you, Alex, for co-signing
the
that.
end. That one,
Huh?
that show.
The end, yeah, the end.
Yeah, that match is great.
I like the Brooklyn match with Samoa Joe. That's where he wins the world's title, the NXT title, which at that time was our unofficial NWA world title. I prefer the Toronto match, which has
Is
an
that the one where they
amazing.
fight over a suplex, the Toronto match?
I don't know.
What
I
happened?
feel like I like that now. At the time, I was very mad at that, but I feel like
What
right now,
happened?
I think I like that.
Oracle what? They did what?
They battled over a suplex early in the match, and I got mad about it.
What was you
I think
mad?
that was the Toronto match, but I think I would like that now.
Wait, what was you mad?
I was like, why are they fighting over a suplex? This sucks. And then, like,
What the fuck are you talking?
I don't know.
But like, why did it suck?
Part of the problem is during that period, I was way too online. You know, I'm over here, like, tweeting out every 2 minutes. You know, I'm like fucking Bobby over here, tweeting out every damn 2 minutes.
I get it, but like,
You
what-
got your notification set for the Fray movement.
Yes. Yeah.
I get it, like conceptually, like why was fighting over the suplex so annoying to you? I'm now fascinated by this.
I don't know. I think I had decided that they both sucked or
Yeah.
something. So
Yeah.
when they started to like sit there and show,
Was
how
it
to
like a vertical
dance on and
suplex?
shit, I got
Yeah,
mad.
was it a vertical? Was it like
Was
a
it a-
German suplex thing, or
Well, they were just like in the suplex position, like both like
Yeah.
fighting for it, and they were standing,
yeah?
and I just got mad about
It
it.
sounds like fundamentally like something you would like.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. I think today I would like it.
I know.
Sitting in front-
But for
Oh,
some
man,
reason, I
this
didn't like
sucks.
it 10 years
Yeah.
ago or 9 years ago, whenever it was. So
This is a good point. They do the big send off for
That match
Finn on
is
TV.
great.
Yeah, that's
that
great.
is good.
I didn't realize I was muted. I forgot I'd
Hmm.
muted myself. But I did want to say that the Sami Zayn match is another one of the best matches of the last 15 years.
Oh, it's amazing.
Oh yeah.
With the Sakuraba match.
So they switch the belt back in Toronto, and then they do that thing where they like do 2 house show matches they tape for TV. Those matches are not very good. I wouldn't recommend watching those. One of them's in Japan. I think that's where she
Yeah,
wins
that
it
was
back.
not that
Right?
good. Yeah.
Yeah,
and then
that's
the-
okay. Yeah, he wins.
Yeah,
it.
and then the cage match in Australia is like still going on. I'm pretty sure those matches are not very good. The takeover ones I like, but then coming out of that, we get to San Antonio.
I did see Finn's last match in NXT was a house show in Houston, in which the main event of that show was Shinsuke and Finn tag teaming to take on the tandem of Samoa Joe and Bobby Roode.
Baby.
Quite the ordeal. Team TNA against Team New Japan. It's good shit.
Real World Tag League 2016, brother.
That's right.
January 28th, 2017, TakeOver. San Antonio. Glorious. Bobby Roode challenging Shinsuke for his world's title. As represented on Alex's shirt there. This is a match that is very polarizing. There's a lot of pushback on this match.
A lot of fucking losers out there, I can tell you that.
So, with that in mind, let's just go straight to it, Alex. Take it away. Let's talk about Bobby Roode and Shinsuke Nakamura.
The best NXT title match ever. This match is fucking incredible. It's right up there. It would be in my top, 10 NXT matches ever. And that's just like giving myself some space. It would probably wind up top 5. Let's be honest here, too. Talking about a moment in time. In January of 2016, if you said, hey, the World Wrestling Federation is going to run a show next year, the same time, you know what the main event for the title is going to be? Bobby Roode versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Just an unbelievable atmosphere here at the beginning. I will say we're far enough along in the NXT experiment where the crowds are getting a little bit performative, little bit happy to be themselves. And during some of Roode's heat segments, they kind of find ways to entertain themselves, but every time Nakamura fires back, the crowd gets right back into it, which, I guess there's probably a lesson there or something. Sure, you can say it's a little bit too fucking long, but grow up. This is like it's structured. Like, truthfully speaking, this is wildly different than any other match we do on this, because this is like an NWA main event from the 80s that Shinsuke Nakamura, he does his Nakamura stuff throughout it, but he has to earn it. He has to get it. And sometimes, his legs are hurting him, so he can't execute it quite all the way. And in a time where Bobby called it out in our chat, an NXT main event that features 1, no acting, and 2, Nakamura hits his finisher once and can't capitalize, and so he loses the match. Bobby Roode hits his finish once. Crowd buys it as the finish. When Nakamura kicks out, the crowd goes crazy. And then what does Bobby Roode do? He just hits his finish again and then wins the match. And also, I got to be honest, the climax of this match features a single leg Boston Crab, which is one of my favorite submission holds in the game. So that could paint my my bias towards this, but also because this Nakamura, the whole story of this, if no one's watched this, is they wrestle a pretty even keel match back and forth. And then in the end, Nakamura hits a desperation Kinshasa on the outside, fucks his knee up, and he's in bad shape. And so Bobby Roode just tries to finish it real quick. Can't. Single leg Boston Crab and starts punching him in the knee over and over again. Nakamura rolls it over, reverses into a triangle choke, but just can't hold the pressure on that knee, baby. So Bobby Roode finishes him off. It was a brilliant way of protecting, as people like to say, Nakamura, because he's going to be on his way out pretty soon, but also giving Bobby Roode the world title win in a relatively clean fashion. And Nakamura looks like a badass prevailing in the end. Badass through losing in the end. Nakamura takes a sick spill to the outside at the beginning of this match that I was pretty surprised about, not remembering. The possum spot that Bobby Roode has in this, where Nakamura is like setting, it starts funny because Nakamura is trying to line up for the Kinshasa, and then he gets mad and then walks over to try to pick him up, and Bobby Roode schoolboys him somewhere. Terry Bollea watched that, go, dude, look out! And Nakamura, we talked about his King of Strong style stuff. Some audiences not knowing how to take it. The part in this match where he fires back and starts beating the shit out of Bobby Roode, the crowd gets really behind it. And he does that thing where Roode's trying to get out of the ring and he starts like stomping on the back of his head. Great fucking stuff. And to Bobby Roode's credit, we did a whole episode on him. A fantastic professional wrestler, but a guy who gets it on the final pin to ensure there's no kick out. He steps over, he hooks one leg, and then he steps over with the other to make sure Nakamura is completely cradled. This is like, I remember watching this at the fucking Freeman Coliseum in San Antonio and just being like completely swept up by this match. And rewatching it now, I'm like I would say a fat kid in a chocolate factory, but really it's just me in a chocolate factory. That's what this match is. It's like this is just such pure Alex Mattis style of professional wrestling. I love this match so dearly. This is like one of my modern classics. So I'm eager for all three of you to tell me, yeah, it was very long, but I adore this match in every capacity.
And before we go into those aforementioned, it was very long comments. We have a couple elements of show and tell here, right, Alex? To pitch to? Yeah. So we got a little visual here.
Yeah, that was my seat at the Freeman Coliseum back in the days of the old takeovers, man.
Right. And I
electric
do have
crowd.
to say, while we have this image, I'll bring this up now. This may be this era of NXT may have my favorite presentation ever for big matches. Like, you get the big entrances on these few shows a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
The lighting where they let the people really just fucking lose it in the darkness. The way they do the pre-match introductions is some of my favorite stuff. And we also have this here.
Yeah, that's from that house show with
Yes.
the tag match. Yeah, look at that card. You had Kenta and Aries in a one-on-one match, DIY against the FTR.
Damn.
There was a Andy Almas against Buddy Murphy, I think, was on that show.
Well, hold on.
Yeah, so good shit. But yeah, love this match, and also putting the show over. It's a special occasion. If I'm talking good about John Boy Gargano. The DIY versus Authors of Pain match on this same show is a triumph completely. It's an incredible match. But yeah, this title match, cannot say enough positive things about it. And it makes it, I think we talked about this in the Bobby Roode episode. There's something so awesome and like borderline punk rock about Bobby Roode's best matches under the WWF banner being with two Japanese wrestlers.
This is am I right in saying this is like a pretty low-key takeover by takeover standards, in the sense that, like, doesn't it just have some honest to God, like, gentleman freeze on it?
Yeah. It's nothing blow away. The other big thing on the show, the tag match was great, but then the other thing was like they had that match where Asuka just wiped out like all of the contenders for the title. Yeah. But yeah, it's not like the first Brooklyn or anything like that.
I just found it. Opening match, Eric Young, Ty Dillinger, 10 minutes. Yes, sir. Yeah. It'll be solid. No doubt it'll be solid. The Oracle of Wrestling. I'm going to presume you aren't as high on this as Alex, but I would presume you liked this. Is that a fair presumption?
That's quite a bit. Probably not quite as high as Alex, but I really liked his shout out to the in the title match type deal. I think that was a perfect description. I think they really worked this match this way. I love, of course, limb selling. There's arm work early. Then, of course, Shinsuke blowing his knee out late. Half crab. I really think it's a really great match. I definitely have it 4 or 4 1/4. Whatever.
Oh shit!
I mean, it's up there. I have it up there. I mean, it's long, but they work. Again, I really appreciate what they did here, and there's something to the fact that I remember this match, and I don't remember all the other fucking NXT title main events.
Yeah.
That basically happened in 2018, 2019, because they're all fucking, they're all,
Oracle,
is this acting theater class course, shit. This didn't have that. This was,
Oracle, is this better than the Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano trilogy?
Well, let me put it to you this way. I watched the trilogy last night, and I don't mean, and I mean this in all sincerity, with matches, and 2 of them were certainly over 4 stars, probably 4.5, 4 3/4. Not kidding. Andre the Giant versus Big John Studd.
Oh. I thought for a second.
I'm not trying to be funny.
Okay. You are funny, but yes, you're not trying to be.
Funny setup.
I mean,
Yeah.
Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano wish they had matches that good.
I thought for a second that you were saying you'd watched the Gargano Cole trilogy last night,
Yeah.
and I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
No.
Yeah. Give me some of them eddies, man, if that's what you're doing.
It was someone because Oracle. This is where these folks. You have to see what's happening behind the. This is what's really going on here. Oracle took the high road. He said, "I remember this more than some of those other matches in 2018, 2019." And Alex can't help himself. He said, "Oh yeah, is it better than the Cole Gargano match?" He'd already said it was better. There's no reason for it. No reason. But I know that was a receipt because you already put Gargano over. You had to take it back.
Exactly. Thank you.
Dude, Roode having the Great American Bash 89 entrance is fucking awesome, man. I don't give a shit, dude. I know not everyone likes Bobby Roode. I swear by this particular version of him as a singles. In TNA, I like It Factor Bobby. I prefer him as a tag worker. This version of him, I just think he was magnificent. I absolutely loved him. Yeah. I swear by his stuff, and this is, one of the leading reasons why. Bobby, do you like this match?
I do. Yeah, I know there was some banter in the chat. Oracle thought I was going to think it was too long. And like I said, and like Alex kind of reiterated, like, it's not because they don't waste the time. It's not long just to be long. Like, it's threaded really well where, like, it's very evenly matched. And then Shinsuke takes that spell to the outside. Roode gets capitalized a little bit. And then as soon as Shinsuke gets an opening, he takes it. It's evenly matched again, basically until, the spot on the outside with the knee, and then he gets in and hits the knee and can't cover it. I thought that part ruled. I thought that was awesome. And then, Roode just coming back and just definitively getting the win. And it's less is more, man. And they really went away from that, in the years after that. And it's a shame.
I will say the knee injury spot, I think, is the match's weakness, I would say. The way it's presented.
I think, bringing the doctor in, I didn't love. I think, like, maybe not doing that part, but, like, beyond that, it worked.
If I had to edit something, I probably would have cut the doctor out and just had Matt Bloom come out, like, because there's like the two-parter to the knee injury thing, so maybe just shorten that down to one. Yeah.
But other than that, I adore this match, and yes, it's interesting to see Shinsuke kind of plugged into something that's so un-Shinsuke in rhythm, and it clearly didn't work for everyone. I believe this has a lower rating than those aforementioned Joe matches. I think this is considerably better than those matches, personally.
I agree.
But, these things are subjective, as this show has proven consistently tonight.
Our friend at the Wrestling Observer, Dave Meltzer, was in agreement with our buddy Oracle of Wrestling. He gave it 4.25.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Look at that, Oracle. How do you feel now? Right in line with Dave, just as you always wanted, mate.
Well, sometimes Dave is right in alignment with me, and that's nice.
Yes.
Nice role reversal. I like what you did there. I love how much their egos are on display here. That's such a big part of the match, right? Like him when he calls him on, and Roode just does the no, no, I will not play your games. I love that stuff. And
there's the part 2 where Nakamura does one of his things, and then Bobby Roode does the glorious, and then Nakamura literally just goes, eh. And then walks to the other side of the ring.
I love that stuff. It's tremendous. And I will say, you're right about the crowd. Like, they do the thing where they chant beer money, and they get a little. But as much as they enjoy doing the dueling chants, they are like truly immersed in the match and watching it. Which, that's my biggest thing. You can sing, you can have fun, but like react to the momentum shifts when they happen. When Roode yanks Shin and throws him over the top rope, the people gasp. Right, they're watching the match. It's not like they're. There are times now where the crowd feels like a soundtrack. Over the top.
Yeah, I know. Every time they go over to your neck of the woods, what the hell's going on with that?
Yeah, definitely doesn't exist anywhere else. Good point. I'm not mad. What's up? almost every wrestling city now.
Oh, for sure.
No, you're right, though. We definitely have to blame. 100%. It does start here, but you guys have... You've inherited it, I suppose.
Oh yes. Which is what we've done for 250 years now. So,
so yeah, the match is fucking awesome. And it's basically the end of Shin's run. He has the rematch. The rematch I don't remember being nearly as good.
No,
because then they just kind of do like a rerun. It's also very long and it's kind of the same.
If I remember correctly, he works on Nakamura's leg. Like that's kind of
I'm gonna see. This would be interesting if the cage match actually was just as good. That'd be very funny after what we just did for the last half an hour.
That was the Orlando takeover. There's that triple threat with DIY, FTR, and Authors of Pain that I remember being good.
Okay. I have big news here, boys. So,
Oh,
Cage
baby.
Match has this rematch, 0.5 basically lower. Dave thought it was better. He went 4.5 on the rematch.
Oh my
So,
god.
Oh, okay. So the Mania weekend one.
Yeah, so
I like that match too, but I think this one's better.
yeah. Orlando's the first Asuka Ember match, right?
Yeah.
Dude, that match is like... I only realized recently how short that match is. They fucking do so much in that match offensively. Like, holy shit. Asuka's a good wrestler. Okay.
Heard such things.
So, he gets called up to the main roster.
Oh baby, sorry.
And this is... Yes.
The
go.
opener on that show was Sanity against Cassius Ono, Roderick Strong, Ruby Riott, and Ty Dillinger. Might have to track that down. Sorry.
That match is good.
Got real
Really
excited when I saw that.
The matter of fact, Oracle, that match is good. Like, that's why he's the Oracle of Like, imagine having confidence to review that match that swiftly and just full authority on it. It's tremendous. So by the time of Shin's call up, it has to be said, what existed in 2016 was a sense of hope, an enthusiasm and optimism. By the time Shin gets called up, the WWE, I think, have stomped that out somewhat. I think by Mania 33, there's it's starting to waver. And obviously, Shin's run, I think, is a big part in fully stomping it out once and for all. I think the optimism is fully gone 1 year later.
Accurate.
He comes up. He is immediately tasked with doing in-ring promos and things of that nature. He is paired with Dolph Ziggler, who is in the role legitimately of the 1-2-3 kid thing of, can this guy work? Shinsuke Nakamura. They go 15 minutes. I like the match. The crowd didn't. He kind of floats around. He nearly kills John Cena.
That match is good, though.
It is really good, but he nearly kills him, which I'm sure didn't do him any favors.
Right.
But
He's in a Money in the Bank match for some reason. Yes, Alex?
What? I didn't know he
Yes.
was in the Money in the Bank.
Because him and AJ do a big stare down in the Money in the Bank match. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that.
Oh wait, is that the one where AJ hangs from the like an idiot? He just hangs from the ceiling. Oh, I'm getting the briefcase, and then he falls. Anyway, to the credit of John Cena, there's that story that it doesn't matter because still Bruce Pritchard's gonna be drop John Cena on his head. But the point is John Cena came through the curtain and is that was my fault, not his.
Yeah, of course. He's clumsy, isn't he? Yeah, he's clumsy.
Well, because I think what he was trying to do was that back suplex he does where the guy takes a backflip bump, which is hilarious thinking of John Cena doing a Jack Evans sell on something.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what it was. He always did the back suplex where he plants you on your stomach, wouldn't he? Yeah.
But yeah, it was in that same run that they had Nakamura beat John Cena and Randy Orton just to give the fans false hope that they're going to do something with him, and then he loses to Jinder Mahal.
He certainly does. Now, Oracle, this is where I really lean on you. Let's talk about these Jinder Mahal matches, brother. Wow.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah, please.
I was a fan of Jinder when he won the title. I thought it was cool. I thought it was funny. Yes, there was irony in it. The Randy Orton feud I didn't hate. Okay.
Yeah.
Thought a couple of those matches were pretty fun. The title switch and the Punjabi prison match I actually thought was kind of fun.
Yes. Yes.
I'm here to tell you right now.
Please.
And again, I enjoyed Jinder for the fun of it. All respect to Shinsuke.
Yeah.
Who clearly has had a marvelous career, and we've talked about some incredible matches. I mean, I've waxed poetic on fucking the Sakuraba match and the Sami Zayn match.
Yep.
Two of the best matches in the last 15 years. I can comfortably say, without any hesitation, that the Jinder Mahal Shinsuke Nakamura World Title feud, WWE Title feud in the fall of 2017 is the worst World Title feud I have ever seen.
Oh baby.
Their segments were bad.
Aces and eights moving up.
The booking was bad. The matches were dreadful. An absolute atrocity occurred every time those two got together.
Yeah, you didn't like it much then.
A shame. Yeah.
Oracle, you didn't like that feud, but Bobby, I have a question.
If
someone was to like this video, what would be the best way to show us that?
What's up?
Is Bob on a
You go ahead and smash that like button. It was the third time. It's an odd number. Yeah. Yeah, we were doing really well tonight until this moment
really,
as well.
really well.
We better?
All right. Tell me when you hear this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There.
that's right. That's fine. That's not too
Seth
bad.
Fiend, the Hell in a Cell Seth Fiend match was worse than any of their matches, but they had like 3 or 4 matches together, and it just went never.
And Seth Fiend is like fun, at least in the sense that it's hilarious. Like there's a
Yeah,
fucking red
right.
light.
And it has,
and
that,
a
it has that
mallet.
famous clip because remember when McAfee hosted that
Yeah.
watch along show on YouTube, and it had the famous one where Waltman was yelling at the book, like just yelling.
Yeah.
Because remember he had Sean Waltman.
Like,
did you ever see this when?
Yeah,
when
yeah.
he goes.
Oh, it was incredible.
He goes, I'm probably not going to be invited back, but how do you get DQ'd in the Hell in a Cell?
It's like genuinely, you'll never forget Seth Fiend ever.
Right.
Like these matches, like Oracle remembers them because I don't remember these matches beyond them being bad. Like, yeah, the second half of this one is absolutely. Their San Jose match is good. After that, it's fucking awful.
Oh yeah, the Kendo match is
like all time bad.
horribly
Shit,
bad.
Something to call out about the precursor to the gender feud. It reminded me of because Oracle talked about the Pujambi prison match. I believe that was on a Battleground show, and on that same show, to fill time, Nakamura was feuding with Big Breakfast Baron Corbin. And I remember of that match, Dave said it was the worst Shinsuke Nakamura match of all time, the worst one he had ever seen.
Oh, that's tremendous.
I don't even remember that match. I remember they sort of had a program, but I don't remember the match.
To our friend Lillian, who asked a great question about how you can get a hat, like the one that's concealing Bobby's hair right now. There is actually a link in the description to get hats such as that. Beautiful LNG Productions hat. Thank you very much, Lillian. Okay, so the gender matches weren't good, is what we're telling you, folks. But it wasn't over yet. It really was, but there was reason to believe it wasn't. He wins the Royal Rumble, and by the way, that is a great Royal Rumble.
That Royal Rumble is
outstanding. Royal Rumble.
Fantastic.
What about the awesome moment where the eras collide? You know when they do that thing where they all... Oh, my goodness. A rare cinema moment I actually really fuck with.
Really, and they do all they can to make Nakamura look like the coolest motherfucker on earth because he eliminates John Cena and Roman Reigns.
Right. So it wasn't... I guess it wasn't over, I guess.
Well.
And then him and AJ... Here we go, folks. We're headed back to New Orleans again.
Yes. The layover... And we'll circle back to this, I'm sure, because I got confused about which match Oracle was referring to. The whatever the In Your House No Way Out is called now between Mania and the Rumble. He had a match with Rusev there that was fantastic. And then he had the New Orleans match with AJ.
2018 I'm in Fastlane, right?
Yeah, it was Fastlane or Road. Something to do with the goddamn road. Yeah, so we'll call it because they're on the fast lane to WrestleMania, pal.
Fastlane. It was Fastlane.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's look at this card, boys. Let's look at this card.
Now we got
opening match
on the road to WrestleMania.
Opening match: Shinsuke and Rusev, day 3.5. Oh, this was the show with the Orton Roode match that like people was on one extreme or the other. Remember the really long one for the US title they had?
Oh yeah, that I forgot about that. They had 20 minutes. They went 20 minutes.
Yep. 5.62 on Cage Match, day 3.5. Carmella and Natalya over Becky Lynch and Naomi, 3.56. They do the Usos New Day no contest with the Bludgeon Brothers running in.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because the whole thing was to reignite that feud, but then they so that Usos could get on the main because they could get the whole storyline was Usos wanted to get on the main WrestleMania card.
One of the worst trends of the last 15 years is where storylines are. God, I hope I got on the Mania card. Which every kid wants their favorite wrestler to be stressing about. Yeah,
like,
it's awful.
at this point, it literally, I mean, it's...
Dude, when they were doing the SmackDown main event, which was a great match, Barrett has a corner. I'm not knocking Barrett because it's just what they're supposed to do, but he says something like, if the two guys that don't win this, they're going to have to worry about like where they stand in terms of WrestleMania. The idea of the Jacob Fatu character being like, fuck, I'm off Mania. Like, what are we doing, man? Shouldn't he just want to beat people up? You know, it's just stupid. Anyway, Charlotte beat Ruby Riott on this show. In the main event, six-pack challenge, AJ Styles over Baron Corbin, Dolph Ziggler, John Cena, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn. So it was an interesting time. But that secured him going to Mania as champ. He faces Shinsuke Nakamura in New Orleans. I don't know if you guys have heard about this. And Alex, you ever talked to me about this New Orleans show before? We ever discussed this, you and I?
Oh, still need therapy for that night, man.
Yeah.
No.
It's a rough night. It
And
didn't
I
really pan out as we hoped, Alex.
no. Yeah, that's the worst WrestleMania of all time. I will not accept an argument otherwise. That match, a lot of that card, that could have been a great show. I think that's
For
the
a
most.
while, it was pretty good.
It was
And
quite
then-
good. Well, okay.
It's
As a
longer than
TV
32. That's why it's worse.
As a TV viewer at home, the biggest downside to the first half of that show was obviously the end result of Charlotte and Asuka.
Yeah. And the
Charlotte.
post-match
Otherwise,
especially.
For the first half of the show, you're like, oh, this is a great Mania. The second half of the show
Yeah.
is so bad that continue, Alex.
We said it, baby. It's real bad. And then I remember the day after someone trying to tell me it was the fault of AJ and Nakamura, and I was like, brother, there was way more problems with that show than that match. The match is very strange. There seems to be a waning motivation, and I know that could be a story that comes along with Shinsuke Nakamura. It would be really deflating to have the run he had going into it and then being told, yeah, you're just going to lose clean. And then afterwards, pal, we're going to turn you heel. But also just fundamentally speaking of the match itself, it's just not that good. They try to do and I've only rewatched it one time, but from what I recall, they try to do this weird continuation of the Wrestle Kingdom match.
Yeah, it was a mistake.
And obviously 80% of that crowd had not seen that match.
No,
and
they just knew they had a match in Japan. It was just they put a match together that expected them to have a level of heat they had no chance of having 7 hours into that show. No chance. We remember, we experienced that crowd is just sitting there.
Yep.
Just like,
And then the apathy turned to rage in the main event when the crowd just booing everything that happens.
Yeah.
But
it was a great night.
brother. I mean, as with life, typically, there's a silver lining to things, and the silver lining for that particular match is that last month or 2 months ago, whenever it was, we got the make good for it. And it took quite a while, and it was under strange circumstances, but we got a great match.
You know, a show had a great impact on you when you say, as with life, when talking about it. It's always a good sign, I think, of your experience. But yeah, it didn't really go the way I expected. The one thing coming out of it was maybe Shin will find a groove as a heel. That's where he first, found success as the King of Strong Style. Surely he'll be winning the WWE title in one of the 4 rematches ahead of him and AJ Styles. Bobby, any update on that? Did he, in fact, win any of those rematches with AJ Styles?
He did not, unfortunately.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay, so
yeah.
there was the possibility of something good with him being when they asked him on SmackDown for his response and him going, sorry, no speak English. Like, if they had really gone into that and he ignores the rules of the ref and I don't know, because the punchline or whatever is the fans know he does because they've been hearing him talk for a year and a half. And there could have been something more entertaining to that than just what came of that. And look, I know Bobby kind of put one over earlier. Dude, people, that is some performative bit that I am unaware of. These people that act like any of those matches were good that year.
Everyone says the Last Man's Data match is good.
I was there, so I mean,
no, it has a good rate, but I just don't remember. Alex and I recorded the AJ thing, and I asked him, "Do you remember this?" And he said, "No." I said, "Nor do I."
I rewatched that recently. It's good. It's too long, even for an LMS match.
Yeah,
it's too long, but it is good.
LMS,
Jesus,
shorthand.
Are we in fucking GM mode on 2K23 right now? Booking a tight LMS.
So yeah, he doesn't win any of those matches. He does win the United States title, I believe, though, Oracle.
He does.
Yeah.
That's later though, because when does he pair up with
What does he do at the end of 2018? He wins something, doesn't he?
So he wins the U.S. title because that's when he has the great match
Yeah.
with one Rusev on
Rusev.
Christmas.
Yeah.
So the takeaway is in 2018, his chemistry was with one Miro
Yeah.
Rusev.
Mhm.
Well, the dirty little secret about the last decade of wrestling is that Rusev is a fucking phenomenal professional wrestler who can't get out of his own way. So much so that now people don't realize he was good. So
yeah, the response to that guy's weird. But when he won the U.S. title, I think he said it one time, and then they were like, "Nope." He said, "Make Knock America great again," and yeah, and that got the axe real quick.
He did what? I don't remember this at all, dude.
Make Knock America great again. Yeah,
but it isn't. It was never Knock America. Like it's fundamentally flawed. Alex, explain yourself.
When he was the United States champion, he said, make Knock America great again." Yeah.
Yeah, but Bobby, you see the issue here, right? It's the first time he's won it, Bob. What is he talking about? The worst part was the hypocrisy.
Careful. Bob might be the wrong person to ask on this topic, but
Come on.
Maybe it's a reference.
Maybe. Yeah, I think. Okay. Is that a pop culture thing? All right, cool. All right, thanks, Bob. So yeah, he wins the US title and he wrestles Rusev on Christmas. Rusev Day, dare I say. Oracle, what the fuck does he do in 2019?
That's when he pairs up with Sammy, right? Yep, he pairs up with Sammy.
Oh, the Artist Collective.
I like that group.
Yeah,
I think they were a fun mid-card
I love
group.
you very much, very much. Again, it's the confidence with which you speak on these things, which I like. Because, like, I'm not even saying you're wrong, because like, I'm sure it was fun, but like, how many people in the world have a strong opinion on the Artist Collective? You know,
no one.
Yeah, but I like it. Good group.
The Artist Collective.
And him and Claudio win the tag straps, right?
And they feud with the New Day, and they have a good little tables match in front of nobody except for PC trainees. And that's the one where, remember they did the, I don't know, but never mind, no one remembers this. Claudio does a double stack, a power bomb through 2 stack tables to Kofi.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
I do remember that. This is what I'd forgotten. Jeff Hardy, they do like a squash thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because it was Randy Orton. Randy cost Jeff the title.
That's right.
Yeah.
When did he win the IC title? Because he beat Balor on the pre-show of some pay-per-view. That's what
IC, There we go. That's right. That's what it is. He wins the U.S. title later.
No, because this is 2018. So 2019 must be the back because Balor leaves Mania as IC champ.
Nakamura has had a fascinating 10 years.
Yeah, we're on the track here.
Very memorable run.
In 2019, he wins the IC strap because then he does this match.
Oh yeah. Okay.
With
I remember that one.
Is that good?
Roode.
It's okay.
The crowd doesn't really like it very much. They just sort of hit each other a lot.
That whole show is very bad.
Strange show. Very strange show.
Bobby, you were at that show, right?
Yeah. I was, yes. Would have probably not laid it out so the main event had no stakes.
I think that was a result of a lag.
Oh, that's right, because Becky, Bailey, and Shayna, they main evented that show.
Yeah. There you go. Extreme Rules.
Yeah.
So Extreme Rules was the Shinsuke show, is what we're hearing here.
Okay.
We're understanding.
It goes back to our point. I think he's won every belt in the company except the world title.
Yeah. Well, he's a winner, bro, you know? Just couldn't get past AJ Styles. It's a tough matchup.
Is Nakamura, is bodysuit Nakamura the most depressing Nakamura?
The one where it's like half zipped?
Yeah.
Okay, my question would be, how does that align with Rick Boogs Nakamura?
Okay, this I don't really have any knowledge of.
I like Rick Boogs Nakamura.
All right, here we
King
go.
Nakamura when he won the King of the Ring? Or no, he beat King Corbin, right? Because he feuded with Corbin.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because he does King Nakamura.
He wins the crown and he gets King Nakamura, and Pat McAfee acts like a fucking jackass every week.
So then when does Rick Boogs show up? Start playing the guitar.
He plays his music for him. That's when he's King Nakamura.
All right. And then at WrestleMania,
and I'm learning so much.
They wrestle the Usos for the tag straps, and Boogs tears his quad.
Well, hold on. I want to go back.
Yeah, please.
First of all, I'm sure much to the chagrin of one Shinsuke Nakamura, he is briefly reunited with Brock Lesnar in the 2020 Royal Rumble. They have that one moment where they go back and forth for a moment.
Yeah.
That's right.
And okay. one of the only things of COVID era wrestling I remember, the Thunderdome, baby, was Nakamura the week before the Royal Rumble cut this fucking unreal promo about how he's going to win the Royal Rumble and how Roman Reigns, you are not my tribal chief, and then I'm coming for you. And he obviously didn't win the Rumble, but Bobby, you may be able to clarify this for me. They did like start setting up a Nakamura Roman Reigns title match and then just completely abandoned it.
Yep, they never went back to it. I do remember that.
Okay,
that was when Adam Pearce was. That's when they had remember when Adam Pearce got his ass beat by Roman or whatever? Took like the Superman punch.
So
that was like the same. That was like around the same time.
So like
it was, yeah.
I'm pretty sure the only interaction Nakamura and Roman ever had was in the end of the 2018 Rumble, and that just like makes me so curious about if Roman just that doesn't work for me, brother, or what happened, because like it seemed like they were going to do something together.
Oh, that's exactly what happened. Look at Matt's comment.
They had him win a gauntlet, and then Adam Pearce pinned him. So yeah, Rick Boogs. And,
hey, Scrap Daddy's a good worker now.
Yeah, he's on the video game.
He's like a 9-time NWA champion.
Dude, he's on the video game.
I got no problems with Scrap Daddy.
No, he's the man.
Got dealt a bad hand.
The giant barber of 205 Live.
So anyway, back to Rick Boogs fucking ripping the meat off the bone.
Good physique on him.
He was a big jack boy. I remember that much.
What was that Mania 2022?
Yeah, that was in Dallas. Yeah,
all right. Which
I love that Mania. I think that's actually it's not quite. It's to me it's like 38, 39, and 40 are a great trilogy.
I agree. Actually,
I think
I agree.
enjoy that Mania quite
and there is zero reason to be romantic about Vince McMahon's demise and departure, but it has to be said that it is remarkably like fitting as his last WrestleMania. For whatever you make of that, and I understand again, there's no reason to be like, oh, good, he went out of a bang. You know what I'm saying? But like
thoroughly underwhelming Brock and Roman main event.
But legitimately, like, yes, a Brock and Roman main event on night 2, and on night 1 a fucking Steve Austin match. Like, you couldn't have scripted it better, right? Yeah. Like, it's for better and worse. It's all over the place. Okay, so we're in 2022, so this gives a perfect feed. So August 12th, 2022.
What a road to get here.
Our final match is with Gunther, who I feel like hasn't been on the Grappler before.
Which is shocking.
I don't think he has. I was thinking about that when we did it.
Is he the best wrestler to have never made a Grappler appearance before this? Because, dude, we've had amount of wrestlers we've covered with this deal.
Masada hasn't been on here yet, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about him. My bad.
I don't know. We haven't had Eric Embry on here yet.
Yeah, another great point. This is SmackDown on Fox era. This is very early into the Triple H era. It is a match that actually got like considerable TV build from what I recall, which is hilarious to consider. And it is honestly, it does have some historical significance in the sense that this is like the first big hit for Gunther as IC champ, which would go on to be, the reign that would make him in WWE. Like, before this, none of those matches are really notable as far as I remember. This is like the one where it's, it's going to be different with Triple Paul. It's good, isn't it?
Very
this
good.
is good. This is a good match, Bob. What did you think, mate?
Yeah, I thought it was a fun time. I remember watching it live. Was very excited for it, and it's kind of like we were talking about. Like, we took that whole journey to get there from 2018, and it's just like Shinsuke's here, and he's a threat again, and he looks like a threat in this match. It gives Gunther his biggest test, so far, and they kind of even point that out on commentary a little bit that Shinsuke's taking it to him, and it's a great TV main event, man. It's a great way to finish, and it kind of shows, like I said, that they can just kind of heat him back up, and it still works, if it's a guy that he is interested in wrestling like that.
I will say he notably works hard here. Like, you can tell he realizes he actually has a chance again because obviously, look, whatever anyone thinks of Triple Paul, and we were ever, he obviously loves Shinsuke Nakamura, doesn't he? It's pretty apparent he thinks he's fucking awesome. And you could tell Shin is trying to go through the gears, and I actually think he looks really good here physically. It looks sharp to me. And I got to tell you, this is a credit to Shin. When he fires up at the end, the people fully believe in him again.
Yep.
And it took him 10 minutes to get that done. Like, he can still do it, man. And this is, Alex said it earlier in our group chat, 3.5 years ago. Be comfortable with that. Since this match, there has been enough time for, like, entire legendary WWF runs. Which is hilarious to me. Just insane. Alex, what did you make of this?
Bad ring announcing. I'll say that first and foremost.
Wow. Who was the ring announcer? Oh, yeah.
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 Pat McAfee's real bad, huh?
Yeah,
he's fucking unbearable, dude. Unbearable.
So, Vince was gone by this point, right?
It's like he'd just been ousted. This is before he's like officially gone, but this is Paul's running the show for a bit,
Okay.
at that time.
But there's
before
still
the Sal and any of that. Yeah.
But fucking Dunn's still hanging around because the fake crowd noise and camera cuts are there.
Oh yeah, the vibe of this is repulsive. No question.
I do have an all caps limb work though. Did you notice Nakamura's working on the arm of Gunther in this one?
Oh, of course. Get away the chops, bro.
Bobby, I got like shoot hot about it because I was like, I have to call this out for absolutely no reason. Pat McAfee brings up Evan McPherson on commentary during this match about kicking a 58-yard field goal.
Yeah.
And pointing out that preseason football doesn't matter, but pro wrestling, whatever he says. I'm just like, shut the fuck up. But
you're a real piece of shit.
Yeah, this match is awesome, and something tells me Gunther's going to get one of these for himself one day. But like, there's so much like you can tell, kind of, he's so good at what he does that it's all so seamless and like just so smooth. But like, if you watch enough of like wrestling, like we do, because we're psychos, you can tell sometimes when he gets a bit more excited, just like Shinsuke Nakamura gets a bit more excited with a guy with a bit more of a physical style and things we can do. So there's some awesome, like, just transitions in this. Well, there's one point where like Nakamura has the fucking Kimura on him and he's jumped guard. And from like holding him in like a standing guard position, Gunther gives him like a stalling butterfly suplex over his head. It's fucking awesome, dude. And then to tie us back to our Sakuraba match, Shinsuke Nakamura employs a trick he learned many years ago where Gunther, goes for a low single leg and boom, gets kneed. And fucking Gunny's sell is incredible. The way he just goes complete dead weight, like fucking Fight Night ragdoll physics on that. It's outstanding. And yeah, I have it noted here that the crowd bites by the end of this. The fucking people on the floor. This match has Bret Hart. I remember years and years ago listening to him like describe like what the perfect pro wrestling match from a crowd response should be. And that is, and of course, Brett, I'm butchering your words, but just kind of paraphrasing here, is that the match starts and you see people like leaning over and talking to the person next to them and kind of glancing at the ring. And then, when you reach like the middle part of the match, they're kind of like a little bit more adjusting in their seat and focusing more on what's happening. And then by getting to the conclusion, they're on their feet watching it. Like that's right. And that's exactly what happens in this match. And Nakamura has him going. And then when he goes for, my note just says in all caps, hell yeah, because he goes for the Kinshasa and just gets his head taken off with a lariat by the big man.
Should have been the finish, to be honest. Should have been the finish, I think. Yeah.
I think this is still when they were trying to establish the power bomb as his finish, but like obviously the brilliance of Gunther now is, I mean, the choke is his go-to, but he has so many different ways he can finish a match. But before we can get there real quick, Nakamura takes the back chop, which I don't know if we've talked about this on air since. I just found it as a point to bring up. John Cena taking a back chop in his final match was the most shocking part of that match. Not that he tapped out in the end. Excellent match. Obviously, two in their own rights and in their own eras, legitimate like Hall of Famers in terms of just like their ability in the ring. But this was, I have a hard time saying like, Nakamura wound back the clock because it's just clear that he still has it. It just takes something to get it out of him. And he obviously has to want to give that, but he did it here and obviously recently with the AJ match. And Motherfucker he still knows what to do. He knows how to turn it on, and this is a great example of that.
There is a note you talked about John Cena. Michael Cole when putting over Gunther. Bobby's nodding. He knows where I'm going. He says he liked to wrestle John Cena. Names like that, and it's like, wow, that's kind of crazy, dude. Like he's forever etched in history as the guy that sends John Cena out of the game. It's pretty nuts.
Yeah.
If you'd have told people that when he was Volta and wrestling the Lads in Progress, insane story. I think it's actually crazy how much we all just kind of take it for granted that he's the guy doing this. You know, it's insane. Nonetheless, Oracle, you're probably watching this in real time. What did you make of it on rewatch, mate?
This is honestly, I think that they found a better template for these matches later on. This is the first one, but it's still a very good match. It's still a very good TV match. And it really is the first because he beats, if I'm not mistaken, he beats Ricochet for the title.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then doesn't really do, because, it's still the Vince regime and whatnot. And then of course, the craziness of all that goes down there.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is a couple weeks after SummerSlam. This is like the first of 20 Gunther title defenses we get over the next 16 months, or God no, be 20 months, I guess. And this is like the start of that run. So there's something special to that in itself. And man, Pat McAfee's god awful. But yeah, otherwise, I really did like this match a good bit. Again, I think there are better ones that Gunther has. And that's not even an indictment on Shinsuke. Let me be clear. I just think that
it's earlier on.
It's just early on in that run. But yeah, this is definitely a very good match. And I thought it was a fitting way to end in this series of matches.
I always love that vibe of Gunther. He obviously knows that this is not what it would have been in terms of atmosphere if they'd have had it in, go back to if they had it in Progress in 2015, it would have been a very different thing, or if they had it in Japan or wherever. But I always love that idea that it feels like they both approach it as though they're going to make the most of it, right? This is our chance to have this match. This is when we've aligned. This is when we cross paths. And I think Gunther especially, he seems inspired by the idea of waking up that Shinsuke Nakamura that took over the world.
Because I think I do remember that one being a little bit better. Is that in 2023?
I have no... I don't know. I'm not sure. I can look. I don't remember them having another match, to be honest with you. I'm looking here. I'm seeing dark matches. Yeah, I don't see it. I do not see it. I don't know.
Huh.
I don't know. I think Cal's lying.
Liars.
Yeah.
They go to hell.
Now, there's a good chance I'm just not seeing it, but Bob's chuckling, which tells me I'm right. No question. All right. We'll finish the story.
Cody?
He has... We're not doing Seth Rollins we're not doing a Seth Rollins chat on this show. Just log into Twitter if you want more of that. I will say it was very bad luck for Shinsuke that his world title program was with Seth. Not because Seth Rollins fucking sucks. Leave that Twitter. But that was not a natural stylistic pairing at all, dude. Not even a little bit. That was a clunky matchup. And it did Shin no favors. That was his chance to get back in that picture. I thought those matches were pretty rough, personally. But
man, they went I think they went 24 minutes at the 2019 Survivor Series and one of those brand supremacy matches. Yeah. I just didn't like that pairing at all. So yeah, and Seth was beat up, and they were trying to get the new belt. It just didn't work. And as a result of that, that's kind of the end, right? In terms of it felt like, I need to be clear, there's more, but it felt like it. Yeah, Cal has just conceded he made it up completely. Fucking owned. So that's right. Keiji Muto was there. That's right. And after that, you get the sense that Paul kind of goes, "All right, fair enough, fair enough." He's run his course. He does the bull rope thing, Oracle, which you were thrilled about, right, with Cody.
Oh yeah, just fucking loved it.
Yeah, great stuff. I think he works with Sami Zayn on TV, I think. Somewhere in there. And then he's done. And I've said this elsewhere, and I'm not a scoopster, so I'll just say this freely. You should ask those that are. By all accounts, he was headed out of WWE into AEW in late 2024. That was all the buzz in wrestling. I'm not a scoopster, folks. Ask those that are for more insight on this. Everyone in wrestling was like, yeah, Shin's going to AEW. He's going to be with Okada. And he then emerged out of nowhere with a new look to wrestle LA Knight at the Survivor Series.
Same scoopsters, by the way, were saying Okada was coming to the WWF to be with Nakamura.
Yes, different scoopsters, but they also said that, yes. Very different people. Very, very different people. But yes, that was a thing that was said, absolutely. Now, when this match was booked, I personally took it as, that's very cute. Paul's going to give Shin a pay-per-view match on his way out the door as like a thank you. That's adorable. And he fucking won. He won the thing. He became the US champion. He went to Noah to defend the US title. And he didn't defend this, but he went to Noah as US champion. And also, he should know, he wrestled Keiji Muto in Noah the year prior, which was fucking insane in itself. Then he loses the belt back to LA Knight? Yeah, because then LA drops it to, yeah. So that was purely a vehicle, I guess, to get him in Noah with the US title, I guess. I don't know. What's funny about all this is at no point have I seen it reported that he re-signed, but he has to have re-signed.
Yeah.
Because he's still there.
He's on a 1-year deal.
I love the idea that, like, Paul was fully accepting of him leaving. And then he just thought about it and went, nah, fuck that. Fuck that. I'm not giving up Shinsuke Nakamura. He's winning the US title. We could beat LA Knight too. Bruce high five and Bill. Yes. The liberal. Paul walking at the office. Fellas, I've done it. I've re-signed Nakamura. And Bruce immediately go, we could beat LA Knight again. Yes. Road Dogg doing a backflip. Anyway. So he beat him anyway, and then he lost it back to him. And unless I'm mistaken, Bobby, you can help. I don't think he did anything in the rest of 2025.
No, I don't believe so. He was in the tournament to face Cena. He lost to Sheamus, and I think he was in like a Money in the Bank qualifier, maybe, but like nothing really like vital. He was in the big Survivor Series match they did on SmackDown.
Fucking right, he was, Bob. That was a hoot and a half, no question.
Yeah, baby.
All right, I'm looking here. He's had a great year, dude. He works with LA Knight a bunch early in the year, as we said. He does the Andre. Of course he does. He got an entrance in the Andre, too, I should note. Here's one for WWE Vault. Dayton, Ohio. Dark match. Jimmy Uso over Shinsuke Nakamura. Send the people home happy.
Oh, baby.
That is, he does a Money in the Bank qualifier.
Yeah.
He does a King of the Ring 4-way, a Sami Zayn match after 4 months at home. He then he does an Australia, he does the Japan tour, of course, they bring him back for that. All right, and then he's been around since then. You mentioned the Cena thing. What with Kit Wilson on main event? R-Truth, Sami Zayn, and Shinsuke Nakamura over Los Americanos on the Holiday Tour. Good stuff. And then he has the one, Oracle. He has the breakout match. Carmelo Hayes, 18 minutes, Berlin.
Oh, listen, 3 3/4.
Yep. There you go. Officially an Oracle Cannon better than the Ibushi match. We should know. Officially.
Yeah.
He had limb work.
He did, in the summer of 2024, he worked the corner of a UFC fight. Do you remember that, Joe?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. It was on the card that Yuri Prohaska and Alex Pereira had their rematch, but the main thing I remember is whoever he cornered won, and when he won, he did the Nakamura like taunt.
Let's go a step further, boys. Drew McIntyre finally regains the WWE title. He heads home to Glasgow to defend it. Who does he wrestle? Shinsuke Nakamura.
Nakamura coming out with the tour t-shirt on with the sleeves cut off.
Germany, WWE title. Drew McIntyre over Ilya Dragunov and Shinsuke Nakamura.
Okay, well, hold on.
Newcastle, Shinsuke over Ilya Dragunov. And we're going to get to about the AJ match in a second. Before we do, the Dark match in Riyadh. Shinsuke Nakamura and the Motor City Machine Guns over Grayson Waller and the New Day. Tamatonga match. The MFTs versus Apollo Crews, Carmelo Hayes, Ilya Dragunov, Matt Cardona, and Shinsuke Nakamura.
Oh my God.
And along the way, you had this match with AJ Styles that was hilariously good. Almost embarrassingly good, to be honest with you. The kind of match that was so good you felt uncomfortable with what you were seeing. You were watching it going,
100%, yeah.
wow, this is really this good. The nerve of these guys, you know?
Which one?
The AJ Saturday Night's main event match.
Oh, yeah, that match was awesome. That
That
was
was
fun. That whole show was fun. And then the Rumble happened the next week. That's too bad.
Yeah.
yeah, true. They had 20 plus minutes and they just went out there and had the match they wanted to have. And they redeemed the memories of 2018. Legitimately, we're having a lot of fun here and being silly. I think AJ and Shin is like one of the more powerful things, moving things I've seen on the WWE show in some time. Like, just two guys who wanted their thing to mean something, their feud to mean something, and Shin legitimately operating with a level of, like, enthusiasm we hadn't seen in almost a decade, if we're being honest, right? Like, I thought it was really powerful. Alex, you and I talked about it some. That was a special thing, I thought, that match.
Yeah, I feel saying I was moved by it's a bit dramatic, but that's kind of to the extent of it. It really, it was one of the things that convinced me that maybe AJ is at the end because of the effort Nakamura gave in that match specifically. The great Matt Botvin, who's the best at what he does in the professional wrestling industry, said he even enjoyed it more than the Wrestle Kingdom match and found it to be very powerful as well. And it's matches like that do not happen often.
No.
And when they do, it's, I think Joe, you and I kind of had similar words in our text exchange about it. It reminds you of why you love this shit. And it's, I left that match with a different type of feeling. But it was also funny because just what we're saying, the current crop of wrestling fans don't know the man we've been talking about for the past 2.5 hours. And we're very perplexed at how this old man, Shinsuke Nakamura, was able to have this great of a match. And
dude, January 2026, two of the matches that struck me most. Okada Tanahashi, Shinsuke AJ. 10 years later, the Wrestle Kingdom 10 doubleheader. And like the clear, it couldn't be more clear, the end of an era, right? A generation leaving us. It was very, very special, very powerful stuff. So I love that match, absolutely.
It's worrying about the Performance Center, and they watch what's supposed to be the future, and like, none of these motherfuckers know how to do this shit.
AJ's had a few of those moments in the last few years where you watch AJ Styles in a depleted version of himself, and you go, "Fuck, who's supposed to replace him?" You know,
yeah.
Like, I remember watching him against Cody in France. I remember thinking, here's a guy who is, if we're being honest, almost a decade removed from his prime as a worker.
Mm-hmm.
Who the fuck is supposed to take his place? Like, this guy's and let's be real, the rest of Cody's feud, did he ever get back to that point where he had a match that felt the way that one? You know what I'm saying? Like, that was, in some ways, the height of his actual defenses, I thought. So, Shin's had less of those moments, but you still felt it on that night because he decided what you wanted to. So, yeah, amazing stuff. All right, boys, any other matches you want to call out for the WWE run? We've got the Rusev stuff noted. We have, of course, the AJ match. I like those Joe takeover matches. The John Cena match is good.
All right, listen.
Yeah.
It ain't good, but the most fire pro ass shit match that has probably ever happened in the history of professional wrestling. Bobby Roode, John Cena, Randy Orton, Shane McMahon, and Shinsuke Nakamura versus Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, Kurt Angle, Samoa Joe, and Triple H. Again, it ain't good, but he was involved in a match that is one of the strangest matches that has ever happened.
Yeah. Speaking of strange, we didn't even talk about the Rusev tag team. Here they face The Bar, the Usos, Aleister Black, and Ricochet at WrestleMania 39. Not 39, that would be 2019, right? That would be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Who
35.
said? Yeah, 35. There you go. Yeah, he said it was a weird one. Oracle. Any other matches to call out?
Not that I can think of.
Mhm.
I was like I said, I was a fan of the Artist Collective. Maybe there's a few good
Six mans, yeah.
6 man
Collision matches, yeah.
Yeah.
What is the funniest AEW match we missed out on?
Oh man, could you imagine Shinsuke and Hechicero trying to do their like
Hey, listen,
contrasting styles?
that would be
like-
intriguing, actually. That would be because
Yeah.
Shin could grapple with him, right?
right, and it,
Hmm.
man, it depends on the effort though.
Yeah, true.
Been trying to be a good boy tonight. I'm gonna avoid the Mike Bailey burial and just say Nakamura would be in a situation where he had to bring the Boom in AEW. He would definitely have teamed with Big Boom AJ. And Nakamura like with the Rizzler and shit.
All right, tremendous. All right, let's put a bow on this whole deal. We've talked a lot, so ain't much to add. But Bobby, any final words on the legacy of Shinsuke Nakamura?
No, I just think, it's crazy that we're talking about him. He had this great match, 3 weeks ago or whatever. And, just his whole WWE journey, just in and of itself, like you could talk about all the wasted potential and stuff. And that's totally fair. But like the fact that he's been there for 10 years and again, they're able to keep heating him up and he seems pleased there. It's good to see. And there was always that thing like, oh, he's happy there. He enjoys surfing and, not working. And I don't know how true any of that ever was, but like, he's made a really nice run for himself there. And he's had a hell of a career. And, you said he was unique at the beginning. And I think that's the best word to describe him.
Yeah. He is, he's like 2 careers, right? He's a Hall of Fame guy, a legend, who has then just spent like a decade just kind of floating around in WWE, but still feels like a legend, kind of. Like it doesn't really make any sense, but it's where we're at, Oracle. Anything you want to add when it comes to Shinsuke Nakamura?
I've actually become more of a fan of his in the 2020s. Out
It's
of
collective.
respect for his sometimes lack of effort, but also the fact that it's kind of one of those things where you kind of reevaluate someone's whole career and look at it and go, you know what, this guy's been pretty damn successful and pretty damn good when he wants to be. And to be honest with you, I mean, hell, even this year, and we're only in mid-February, he's got 2 really, really good matches on his plate this year against 2 very different guys. So
True.
seriously, I mean, I have preached it for a month. The Carmelo Hayes match, I'm almost having a conniption. It's so shocking to say. The Carmelo Hayes match is legitimately really good, and I did not expect to see the match that they had.
Melo has legitimately gotten a lot better. Legitimately.
Yeah.
Wearing lifts.
I knew. So you can't do anything around here. So yeah. I think my main thing is I think history will be kind to what he did in the States because he still was far more successful than most that came before him. And he was the first that kind of crossed that line, not TNA, but you get my point, broadly speaking, because of time he did so little on the main roster. And I think that will have historical importance in terms of, again, Asuka and Io, no question, but for a top Mao in Japan, what he did, I think it does matter. But more than that, I hope anyway that over time, people have a better understanding and grasp on how important he was to that explosion of the wider wrestling world. He was really integral to it. He was central to it. I would even go as far as say he was the smart fans' favorite wrestler at that time was Shinsuke Nakamura, and that entire fan culture led to an entire promotion being formed. Like that counts for something, man. I don't care how many years he spends on the undercard of SmackDown. That doesn't just get erased. And I hope that does hold up, and I hope that people that lived it talk about enough that we kind of maintain that piece of history. Because I'm telling you, dude, people that were signing up for New Japan World, a lot of them were doing it because they saw this guy called Shinsuke Nakamura, and they wanted to see more. Like, it was a special time, and he was a big part of that. So I was very happy to do this, and I leave it, as always, even more fond of the grappler in question. He also just seems like a sweetheart too, which is always nice. Alex, any final comments, anything to add when it comes to Shinsuke?
I did forget to insert my random trivia, so let me do that real quick. His finishing move in New Japan was called the Bumbaye, that Shinsuke Nakamura, of course.
Yes.
Bumbaye, named after the chant from Muhammad Ali at the Rumble in the Jungle, which took place in Zaire. Once he moved to the World Wrestling Federation, the move was renamed to Kinshasa, which is what Zaire, after the occupation, it would go on to be known as. So that's the connection there. That's a little trivia I've got about Shinsuke Nakamura. I'm like struggling here to think of a peer or like a parallel
Right.
of it. You know,
there isn't one, is there?
You know, it's like it's like in fucking 1985. One Man Gang is your favorite wrestler, and you think he's the best wrestler in the world. And then he goes and does the Akeem stuff, and then he's kind of just bouncing around, and you're like, well, but nothing like that exists, because Shinsuke Nakamura at one point in time, you could have like made the argument that he was the best wrestler in the world, and his appeal and his career has spanned at this point, let's be honest, 3 generations. Because there's probably some people that just still remember, like, especially in like the Japanese fan base, that just remember like the Shooter gimmick where he was an Inoki disciple and shit, and then became this wrestler that transcended and in many ways had a bit of a westernized gimmick in a time in Japanese wrestling where that wasn't really a thing, and that broke through on a different level to where like people in like myself and Joe could almost connect with the character a bit more than just being like the fucking tough guy. And what everything Joe said is 100% true of him being a central character to a period of wrestling that changed the entire face of like the industry and made it to where there's a second promotion now. Yeah, he's not there, but he's one of those people.
Right.
It's like everyone always says it was the Bullet Club, and like, yeah,
Right.
yeah, but 2 things can be true also. There's some other like extenuating circumstances that tied that together, and then he gets to the WF, has this fucking heroic NXT run, and then goes to the main roster, and maybe when like history is written, the last big example of Vince McMahon just, I don't get it, so we're not going to do anything with this. And I could be like having a big mental gap right now, but it seems like he was like the last great example of someone who had all the momentum in the world and the fans wanted to believe in, and Vince was just like, no, I don't get it, fuck it. You want what I want. You want Roman Reigns, pal. And so that complicates things. And then going into this era that he's gone into, where we joke about, wearing the event shirt and, just working house show style every night. And in some ways that's true. And if you're getting paid the money he is, and you're able to do that, God fucking bless you, man. But as we talked about with the Gunther match, the Rusev matches, the AJ match recently, this apparently fucking Hart McGee level Carmelo Hayes match that I have to see. He's still out there, like fucking, he is putting in the work. It's the deal is this: to younger fans and some of the more casuals, I guess you'd say, his legacy may be lessened or lesser than it should be, because he is a really important figure in a very formative time in the history of the business, and above all else, a fucking goddamn hell of a professional wrestler, man. Like, the matches we watched tonight are exemplary of that. So if all you know is the Nakamura that feuded with Cody Rhodes and that type of shit, do yourself a favor, hop on YouTube, find some of these matches we talked about tonight, because that guy, when the red light was on, he could go.
I'm really intrigued, and I guess it's already happening out there somewhere, but over time, to see what the memory of him is for fans that grew up on WWE Shinsuke Nakamura but didn't know what came before. Because I just have a feeling it's more flattering than we would imagine. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. I think he meant more to that audience than we appreciate, because we were always comparing him to what he was. I think there's something to that. But
and that, as a closing point, I'll say that is very fair, because like we said, he's held every title. That's not the title. Gunther match, they can still dust him off and people will buy it. And also, to his credit and the position he's kept himself in, all due respect to Ron Killings, he's not R-Truth. He's not someone people ever
Right.
laughed at. Like, he's not someone that people don't take seriously at all. So,
Right.
yeah, that's a really interesting thing to ponder. What his legacy will be to the different levels of knowledge that people have of him.
Yes, indeed. All right, folks, let's look ahead to next month. I want to establish now, guys. Here's the deal. There are two big names here that I would like to just get a temperature check on. We can just throw them out, or we can talk about them some more. Sting and The Undertaker are both March grapplers. Are we of the belief that they are they're like not Grin Grappler applicable anymore? They've been talked about too much. We did Sting?
We did Sting.
Did we?
I don't remember it.
I think we did, yeah.
Oh, yeah, we did the Kurt Angle match.
Yeah.
I don't remember it, dude. Holy shit.
Yeah,
Okay,
covered this
easier.
thing.
Is there actually an intrigue to us doing The Undertaker and deciding, where we stand on him? Or is it one where it's like he's been covered to death? Just leave it. What do you think?
And
What's on the list?
yeah,
Okay.
let's see the list.
Right. Here we go. We have we have a range of names. I'll run for them here. We have the recently officially retired Big E. We have Umaga. We have Rick Martel.
Oh, baby.
Fuck yes.
We have the Fallen Angel, Christopher Daniels.
Okay.
Another recent retiree, Homicide.
Okay.
Recent GHC heavyweight champion, Kenta. Contrarian Alex's favorite, Kyle O'Reilly, and The Undertaker. So we have a range of names. But I forgot we did Sting, but I put those two on a separate list because I don't know where we stand. Like, I think Taker can be an interesting show, but I just don't know if there's a lot of, is there a lot of meat left on the bone?
The problem is right now the conversation has reignited of if he was a good worker or not, and that we have our integrity here. We don't capitalize on those types of things.
Bob?
And
You're blamed for that, by the way.
Well, we already settled that years ago.
Yeah, true. Excellent point.
When you missed about 12 years that he was actually good. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, that was good.
yeah, he,
Someone,
I think it was IVP posted. Someone posted it's come to the point where now he is equally as overrated as he is underrated as a professional wrestler.
That's true.
right.
Man, Rick Martel is tantalizing.
Mhm.
Christopher Daniels that's sick. Because that's legitimate. The time span there, we could do 3 legitimate acts with that.
Scour the WCWC shows.
What would you actually do? You'd have to do damn, because he goes into the 2020s.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know how much of that stuff. I'm sure you didn't see it, but he has a match a year ago with Hangman where he fucking bleeds everywhere. It's awesome.
I remember
We
hearing
could
about
have a Rick Martel one that would be fucking phenomenal.
So what would be our Martel acts? We'd have to do white meat babyface Rick Martel, right?
Yeah,
We'd have to do
AWA
some of that.
champion. We could do a WF act where we do a Strike Force match and a model match, and then maybe a
Do the
Japan match and a
And
WCW.
for the team too. I
Yeah.
mean, Strike Force is a better one, but
Yeah. I kind of was feeling Martel, but Bobby always has a big say in these things. So Bob,
No, I'm fine with Martel. I've been watching all the WrestleMania, so I've seen quite a bit of him the past couple weeks. Let's do it.
and this one did well in terms of viewership too. So we ought to rein it in a bit. I'm being honest. I mean, we like to keep things, we'll do a big hit and we go, right, Terry Gordy. I love Terry Gordy, but most people don't go, 3 hours about Terry Gordy. It's not, so I think we rein it in. I think we go Rick Martel, I think.
Yeah, we'll bury all the Benny jokes in that episode, since this one gets some
Good
views.
work. Excellent work. All right, so it looks like we're going Rick Martel. All right. What's me, Oracle? You're all aboard with this, right?
oh
You're
yeah,
all in?
absolutely. Yeah,
Excellent.
we're definitely doing late. We're definitely doing one of those WCW matches.
Yeah, for sure.
We did the Booker T match already, so we'll have to find one of the other ones. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Dude,
Very Saturn match, maybe.
did we stop the Sting one just in TNA? Is that what we did?
No, because we did the.
Didn't we end in TNA?
We did Vader from one of the Vader matches.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you asked, did we
Yeah,
start? But no, we
no.
stopped. Yeah, because that was right when it first started. Because he hadn't had any of his great matches yet. I don't think in AEW.
I think you heard. I think we just said fuck it, TNA.
The Eddie Guerrero match is very good on Nitro. Actually, that's a good. That's a good show.
I do want. I say this to the boys for. Eventually, when things settle down and I have more time, I would love for us to do some like Grin Grappler bonus features where we like someone like Sting. We do like the fucking 2.0 match or like one up. We do like 2 extra matches for guys that kept going. You know, it'd be awesome. But nonetheless, it's another conversation for another day, folks. Rick Martel will be our next Grin Grappler. The Oracle of Wrestling. You are back tomorrow night, live, 11:05 Eastern. Tell the people about what you're tasked with tomorrow on LNG 201.
Yeah, I will be tasked with talking about the first 5 or so episodes of TNA on AMC. In which case, I will attempt to try to be constructive, in which I will struggle with deeply. But I'm
I know.
Oh well.
Yeah, but you're going to be there, which is the most important thing.
Right, correct.
Our TNA correspondent.
Correct.
Donnie's going to be covering NXT. Caden's covering Ring of Honor. Novi is covering MLW, and I have the task. I know you're envious. I have watched 8 episodes of the NWA in the last week, and I have extensive notes on every wrestler that appeared on my television. I will share all tomorrow live, 11:05 Eastern. LNG 201, best of the rest. Bob O'Neill, you will not be there, but you will be there with Oracle and I. Final 4. Tuesday, right? Probably?
Yes, Tuesday.
Correct.
I don't know the time yet. I know the time for that show is a bit.
We
change
later.
it. It's fine.
It'll be later. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we're doing Final 4. I will be back with Observer Notes. It's a big show. I love that show quite a bit. Fired up to watch it. Please do join us. The Fatal 4-Way is a tremendous match.
It's incredible. You can join us with the It Used to Be Better tier. $3.99 a month gets you that and all sorts of other things. Holbert House Show, WCW Lives, just a plethora of grins, including Sunday's Ibu the Vault program. Bobby, one last time for the house. Any advice on this? Enjoyed this show?
Yeah, if you had a good time, you go ahead and smash that like button.
Beautiful. Contrarian Alex, tell the people about the Contrarians.
That Final 4 pay-per-view, by the way, Chattanooga, Tennessee, is where that emanated from. Just worth calling out. We are the Contrarians.com, at Contrarian Prime across social media. Over the past month, we've covered such films as John Q, the early 2000s Denzel Washington thriller and commentary on the American medical system. And also we've done some stuff pertaining to Firefly and Serenity, the mid-2000s sci-fi series that was short-lived with Nathan Fillion. In the Heights, the Lin-Manuel Miranda musical from past few years, great film. And then also finished up our from last year with the donations we received on live stream for The Cure. We promised to do commentary tracks for the entire Exorcist franchise, so we dropped those for Part 4, Dominion, and Part 5, Believer, which was recent. Very, very bad movie. But anyway, that is all available for the free to the public. We also have our patron. But we are the Contrarians.com, and again, at Contrarian Prime across social media is where you will find it. Joe, myself, and Julio were having preliminary discussions the other night. If this Ronda Rousey, Gina Carano thing is to happen, we may be ending up doing a bonus episode on Haywire, which we would love to bring you aboard for. So we'll be in touch about that.
That's just exactly what my schedule needed, brother. Haywire. And I say that with sincerity. I can't believe that's... I don't know if that fight's going to happen.
I'll be more surprised if it happens than if it doesn't.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. But I think if it does happen, you'll see me with the lads about Haywire. I think you may even see a grin along. Jack Crosby just booked you. He said, I'm doing a show with Alex, and he tweeted about it and everything.
I learned about that fight because I was asleep and my phone went bling, and it was Jack Crosby. Like, look at this shit.
Yeah. Jack Crosby confirmed shoot in the group chat goes, we have to do a grin along for this. And Jack goes, we're doing one. It's going to be Joe, myself, and Alex. And I went, you talk to talent relations about that? All right, fair enough. Fine by me. So yeah, lots happening, folks. Stay tuned. Tomorrow, Best of the Rest. Saturday, Collision. Sunday, Ibu the Vault. Monday, Holbert House Show. Tuesday, Final 4. What a time to be a grinner, boys. Goodness gracious me. We appreciate the support. We hope you've enjoyed this program. Have a great night. Keep grinning. All hail. Enjoy this outro. Goodbye.
Yow.